match between the NYXL and the LA Gladiators, but it was shields up when it was all said and done as the LA Gladiators pulled off the 3-2 victory over the New York Excelsior. And, you know, I said it on Twitter, and I want to ask the question again. Is New York free to LA teams? Could it be that New York is free to Los Angeles teams? I don't know. I mean, if you go by the last two matches, maybe so. But anyways, let's move on to our final match of the night. We have the San Francisco Shock going up against the Philadelphia Fusion. And this is going to be loud in here because we got Tyler in the house. You're going to hear a lot of woos. I guarantee you it's not Ric Flair. It's definitely Tyler who is in the building. Anyways, the San Francisco Shock, they're coming in red hot. They got a new energy to them, a new coach, and they've just been playing all together better. They are in the stage playoff contention right now, so they really need this win if they want to make it to the stage playoffs. As for the Philadelphia Fusion, they've been skidding a little bit, and they really need this victory because they're trying to make the overall playoffs, and all the hard work, getting to the stage 2 finals, everything comes down to these last games for them. They need victories. So Blizzard Arena, give it to me one more time for the final match of the night. And we're gonna go ahead and get into it with our crew at the desk.
This audience has been awesome on Thursday. We've seen some insane matches, including both LA teams winning. And what does that mean? Well, it means that the Fusion now have all kinds of pressure on their back. I'm your host, Chris Puckett, joined at the desk. We got Crumbs, we've got Sideshow, and Philly currently 6th place right now. They need to keep pace. The Shock, on the other hand, this is a squad that is not in the overall playoff contention. They're currently in the 5th spot for Stage 4, but you have to think this is a very new, improved Shock squad. They're looking to make that run and finish in the top 4 for the Stage 4.
And when you look at the stage standings here, when we're looking at Philadelphia, because you're 3-3, you're probably not too concerned about making it here. You're all about those season playoffs. This team needs to find the consistency to make it into this lineup, whereas Shock, this is what they're fighting for.
Very difficult for the Philadelphia Fusion, as you were saying, Puckett. All kinds of pressure on them, particularly because the LA Gladiators have now moved ahead of them into that 5th place spot after that win over New York. And Gladiators have an easier schedule coming up than Philadelphia Fusion do. There's a lot of these games now that are considered must-wins against some pretty tough teams.
And looking at the remaining matches for the Fusion, I gotta ask, where are you expecting wins? Where should they lose with the remaining 4?
To be honest, if you're looking at this lineup of 4 matches and you consider the form that Philadelphia Fusion has been able to reach, all 4 games should be wins for this team. Is that going to happen? We don't know. This team is the one that goes to more Game 5s than anybody else. They really need to find a way to be decisive in their victories if they want to claim 4 wins back-to-back.
And it's a little bit difficult for them as well because all 3 of the teams that you would think are kind of sat at the lower end of the table have started peaking recently. Shock looking a lot better. Outlaws had a decent game yesterday. Spitfire now looking okay. Are these games that are still winnable for Philadelphia? They better hope they are.
They're right now the gatekeepers, right? They're in that 6th spot. They're holding it down, but there is no room for error tonight. We talked about Philadelphia, their struggles last week. If you're looking at them this week, Crumbs, what are you expecting to see from the Fusion?
So Philadelphia Fusion's a little bit confusing because when you look at this team on paper, all the parts of a luxury vehicle, yet it's operating like a mid-class sedan. Something's not clicking, and I think that why you're going into these late-stage playoffs, it's going to be relying on your experience, particularly in the Overwatch League. And Sato and Hoppa, the new guys here, they don't have that. And I think that that is part of the reason why they're a little bit on the worst side of communication here, Philadelphia Fusion. They need to make sure that these guys get used to playing with these high stakes on the line.
Josh, are you concerned for these tanks?
I think the tanks themselves play well individually, and that's always the thing with Philadelphia. The individual components, like you're saying, always play pretty well, but the synergies and how they play together and the overall game plan seems to be lacking at times from the Philadelphia Fusion. They tend to commit to fights that we wouldn't expect them to. Suddenly there's a call and they go all in with some weird transcendence. So it's moments like this that I want to see cut back. I want to see a little bit more of a disciplined Fusion today.
A little disciplined Fusion. I like that call. On the other side, we got a San Francisco Shock squad that struggled, right? We knew this was a young team they'd be building as the season went on, and really Season 2 is where they're looking to get their big win. They're in the running for a Stage 4 playoff spot, and you have to think a lot of that is due to the coaching change. The Shock picked up Krusty from the Boston Uprising, and he has totally changed this team around. How does Krusty get this job done, Krubs?
Yeah, I want to take a look at Krusty and where he came from specifically, because if you look at what he was doing in the Boston Uprising, that team had a lot of top-down structure. A lot of players would just follow the coach's orders and then execute. And I think that's what San Francisco Shock really needs right now. They have very similar style of players. You've got young players that have relatively low experience on a professional setting. So when you get a guy that presents rigid structure that makes sense, they will follow, and then you can harness that young and skillful talent to give you great results, as we see Shock doing in Stage 4.
He's clearly a fan of the young'uns as well, because that's why Bren built a whole shrine to him, you know. The youngest analyst as well has got a little thing for Krusty.
It makes sense.
But he's not there.
There it is, right?
You need the old veterans to teach you. All right, Sideshow, let's get into this one officially. Does Philadelphia keep up with the rest of the pack? Do they get a win tonight?
I think when I'm looking at this game and the head-to-head matchups between the two, there's a clear difference between them. The San Francisco Shock have got a really good game plan. They don't try and adapt that much to the enemy teams. They just have a clear set style. And they've just looked so hot recently that I've got to go with the San Francisco Shock here. I think that they are the favorites coming into this match. Philadelphia Fusion have looked a little shaky, but I wouldn't be surprised if Philly come away with the win either. I think this is going to be a very close game.
You're going Shock.
I'm going with the Shock.
I did not see that coming out of Sideshow. It's time to go to Crumbs. Where are you going? Which orange team? Are you going Shock? You're going Fusion.
This is a bit of a tricky one because Shock does look a lot better, but they have such lower stakes to play for. Only Stage 4, whereas Philadelphia's got pretty much everything on the line. So I think that this team right now might be the one to take the win. So I think Philadelphia, with the map pool, they have such a strong advantage in control right now. It'll likely go to Game 5. That's 2 maps of control.
Why is Soon on the stage? Who let Soon out there?
There's some booze. I like it. I like it. EQO that walked all the way up onto our stage and shook his head. Yes, Crumbs, you picked it right today. Are you guys ready to get the final match of Thursday started? Let's get it going right now as we bring out our first squad. Coming down from the Bay, from San Francisco, it's your Shock. Is that a baby Bay spotting? This is an Instagram, ladies and gentlemen. The hit-scan hero is back in action.
I mean, he's not going to be missing those shots, though, because he comes into Kingsgrove as one of the sniper specialists. He did so last time, and playing that Hanzo alongside Sinatra's Zarya has been a joy to watch. I mean, this guy, he just gets to practice on the bench and hone in those skills. All glory and for minimal effort.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, though, the roster that they're running for Kings Row. I'm puzzled as to what exact strategy they're going for. I'm sure there is something in the game plan here, looking at the starting roster, but they have no architect. And normally we think about the Widow battles to open up Kings Row and the double sniper being so useful, but Sinatra can play the Zarya in these situations, and Baby Bay can play the Widow or the Hanzo. But I think there's going to be something interesting coming out here. I think we're going to see more Reinhardt Zarya comps.
Hey, tell me a little bit about this man. The new tank came into week 3, Troy Hyobin. What have you thought of his performances so far?
He's been excellent on the Diva. He really has. He's filled in Nevix's spot admirably, and though Nevix was, in his own right, an excellent off-tank, Choyobin adds a bit of clutch factor and always knows the right place to be. I've got to imagine as well that Krusty finds him easier to coach, perhaps, because they got that Korean connection. So, at the end of the day, this is, again, something that's puzzling, because you potentially have 3 tanks on the field right now. Are they going just for a massive tank setup?
I sure hope so.
Oh, he's running Zarya.
I can't wait to see what's going to
Diva
happen
Zarya.
there. We got this San Francisco Shock. There is their starting 6. It's time to find out who will they be playing against on the right side of the stage. Please welcome the Philadelphia Fusion. 21-15 as they enter today's match. They're tied at 21 wins with 2 other teams. They currently have that number 6 spot, but they have to stay ahead of Seoul and Houston.
Yes, and the man that's been helping this team get there is the guy right here. Last to this stage, number 18, Carpe, the main sniper and tracer out of the Philadelphia Fusion. He's essentially the glue of the team. I mean, he is almost always having a fantastic game, and it gets to the point where his consistency is almost frustrating because it's not reflected in wins out of the Philadelphia Fusion team.
He's my T-Mobile MVP, man. I don't know how you can go away from Carpe, but today you need a lot out of EQO. They've been mixing up their rosters.
Yeah.
The DPS has been changing around. Josh, what role has the most pressure? Is it the tanks with Sato and Happa, DPS or the healers trying to keep everybody alive?
I mean, I think that the tanks are the guys that really need to step up and make sure they have a good system going. But the way that they design this team is that the DPS players tend to pop off. So perhaps it's EQO who's coming in with perhaps a little bit of a wrist injury. They said that he sat out for a little while last week. And so coming into this game, he's got to fill the shoes of Shadowburn, who's been sat in there for him. So this DPS duo back to the basics for the Philadelphia Fusion. It's worked so well for them before. We'll see if it can today.
The Shock fighting for their spot in the Stage 4 playoffs. The Fusion trying to finish in our top 6 for this season playoffs. It's time to get this match started, and to bring you the action, we got the Uber X.
There we are here, fam. Let's go. This is going to be an absolute cracker of a match. Is Tyler out there? There he is. What's up, fam? It's heating up here. All the Shock fans getting ready, of course, and the Philadelphia Fusion, they don't have many more. In fact, they don't have any games that they can drop. If you watch Watchpoint, you see I've been quite frustrated with this team as of recently. I think Sato and Hopper, we gave them a pass early on in the stage, in the season. Now we need to see them really start to rise as a top tank duo because it's been touch and go.
When this team looks good, they look very close to up at the top of the league, right? NYXL obviously at the top, probably going to stay at the top. But I think Philadelphia, what we see from them is when they play at their best, they can hit that level. How often do they play at their best? Not so often. We see them kind of float somewhere in the middle. It depends on the maps.
And the team's changed fairly drastically now as well. If you think about taking the tank core out and sort of replacing it, whether it's an upgrade or a downgrade is not actually what's important. It's whether they can continue to win games.
I mean, Fraggy and Poco played every game through stage 1, 2, 3. I know a few games we saw Hotba in, but I know they played the first map up stage 4. We haven't seen them since. They played a King's Row, they lost it. Remember, we casted that. It was Poco was throwing like grabs, like he had like 1 or 2 eaten. He threw another one that was just kind of off a little bit. We haven't seen that duo since. It's been Sato and Hotba, who have been the tank duo. And it's interesting, you look at this match on the schedule and be like, oh, I know Philly's going to come in here. San Francisco has nothing to play for. San Francisco has a lot to play for. A lot of the young guys on this roster who really want to make a stage playoffs. Like,
they're hungry.
They're hungry to make a stage playoffs. Philly trying to make the overall playoffs. So there's actually a lot on the line in this match for both teams, if you look at it as one fighting for their stage playoff.
Yes, it's just the scope of their interests are different, right?
And it would be a great end to a Shock season if you're a Shock fan, and then the players, if you can make a stage playoff. You talk for so long how much of an impact these young players would make, that you actually see that, that'd be great.
Out of the gates come the Shock. Predominantly white with some orange there. I'm digging this crowd. Let's go. Super out on the right hand, and Sinatra obviously will be beginning on the Roadhog. Shield pressure. Now they've got both Orisa and the Reinhardt here between Sato and Hopper. That's a lot of shields, man.
It's an interesting setup. You usually don't see Orisa plus Reinhardt. Maybe you just have Hoppa up top putting the barriers down for Carpe, and then Sato can protect the players on the ground. They catch Sinatra off guard here. They actually take him out. The Super stands at the point. They make it a tick.
Holt there just to bring Super and Moth. Put him in a bit of a vulnerable position there as he took a hit. And Babyface trying to work from the side, but there's so much healing for Sato there. Have to be backing out here. Again, this is what we're seeing for the Fusion, just a single DPS. 3 supports, of course, with EQOs, but gets it in the mix.
I like the change here from Sinatra. You bring in Zarya. We've seen his Zarya in the past. He can charge these Gravitons up so fast.
Yeah, but what about your shield pressure? Don't you feel like you
I almost feel like you're not even worried about the players up on the high ground. At this point, you're just trying to push Sato out of position on the low ground, and they get him really weak. They take him out.
Carpe jumps down from the ledge while scoped in and finds the shot, but Super's got himself 2. EQO and Sato are down. Carpe will be sort of accosted by Chocob in here, but the rest of the Fusion are pretty light on the ground, and the Transcendence has been committed to the fight. Babybay connects, scatter shot. Neptuno is down, and the Shock, they're on the board.
Yeah, and that's where you don't really care about the Widowmaker up top. They push Sato into the corner. You get a lot of damage from Babybay with a scatter arrow, and then what do? They send Trioben up to the high ground. Once Hotba has to come down as Orisa, right? Then Carpe doesn't have the shield. You can send the D.Va up that just kind of push Carpe out. They do a nice job. Carpe now will play Zarya here for the Philadelphia Fusion. They'll play a triple tank hump with the...
Bro, it sounds like an LA game in here.
Yeah, they'll have a Pharah as well. Interesting that they go Pharah here when you have Babybay go over to McCree's. I know Babybay is known as a hit scan specialist, so to play a Pharah into this is quite dangerous.
Super got that magnetic upgrade on his armor, Matt. As he came around a corner, it looks like Sato just got pulled into his path. And the reason why the Shock were able to play so aggressively there is Baby Bay downs EQO at the start of the fight. Farah hits the ground. The rest of the Fusion pull back and try and get the Resurrect, but the Shock realize that Sato is about 30% health after getting hit by a big fire strike, so they press the advantage. This is that aggression that we've been waiting to see from the Shock. We've always been a bit critical, Matt, about them maybe being more defensive or more uncertain. Now we're starting to see that ferocity.
And now EQO switches off of Farah, goes to Junkrat. So you play a Junkrat into a Zarya here, as that'll be a Earth Shatter from Sato, one from Super as well. Doesn't connect with much. That'll be a Graviton Surge laid down by Sinatra just as he falls. It's going to force out the Transcendence from Boombox. Neptuno also using Valkyrie to keep everybody alive. Okay, so a lot of ultimates used there, but you'll take that if you're the San Francisco Shock.
Yeah.
You see Carpe kind of charged up here. Should be able to finish off Baby Bay.
You're not even trying to necessarily win the fight with that ultimate there, because Sinatra knows he doesn't have a Hanzo on his side of the map anymore. They're just using the McCree, so their follow-up on Gravitons in general is a lot weaker. And they know if there's going to be a Transcendence, they can't break through it with damage.
So you have Baby Bay with a Deadeye as Carpe gets closer and closer towards a grab. You already have Riptire. You have Riptire grab, be a pretty strong combo. Both support ultimates up for the Shock.
This Riptide could be nasty.
I think they probably... Okay, so they get it. I was going to say they probably wait till that goes off to see what they do in terms of support ults. They're going to use Valkyrie. It'll be the Deadeye.
Oh, it gets EQO somehow, but the double self-destruct in the back from Hotbar. Also getting a D-suit there. That Transcendence now for the Shock accounts for nothing. Perhaps, yeah, it's a switch off of the McCree. Back to the Hanzo. Now they have some combo synergy with the Zarya. And of course, something to deal with that Junkrat McCree, obviously being ground-born much of the time, is a little susceptible to grenades.
Yeah, we can take a look at this replay. It's a beautiful grab. It's,
I love it.
The Shock perfectly placed there by Hotba.
Here we go. Again, the Shock generally don't waste too much time in pleasantries as they cross no man's land. Like, get now to where the fight is. There's an Earth Shatter from Sato here. You know he's looking for something. Oh no, he sends it right to the shield. I thought he'd send it into the backline of the Shock. Doesn't quite work out.
Nobody gets anything with their Earth Shatters. That'll be the Graviton Surge that comes down from Sinatra. That'll be Zenyatta ultimate as well, coming out from Boombox. Another self-destruct here. It's going to be Treoban, though, this time, throwing his mech into the mix. So now you're going to use Valkyrie here. This is interesting for the Shock. It's like a 4-on-4 fight here, and you're going to try and invest heavy into this.
Right, Cats, I mean, you're getting now Boombox is going to even up the numbers here. You got to think that Super was looking to probably try and charge Boombox out of the grab there and actually give his team a chance to get through the damage. But it's hard to be selective about who you're charging into a grab with a Reinhardt because everyone's clumped together. It's just the first person you hit normally. Sinatra's back, but Carpe's ready to roll here with a Graviton.
They got to get rid of Carpe, man. She's just doing so much damage. There's going to be a Riptire into the grab. It'll get rid of Super, but Carpe right now with an average energy of 57. They finally deal with him, so he'll lose a lot of that high charge. But compared to that, Sinatra only sitting at 40% average energy. It's interesting too because
still both high, right?
EQO's been running a Junkrat though the entire time. You figure you'd be able to capitalize on some of that. That's why you usually don't love running a Junkrat into a Zarya, because a lot of that just kind of poke damage and chip damage that Junkrat puts down gets turned into damage on the other side.
Initially, obviously, he wasn't playing that Junkrat though. He spent some time on Brigitte, he spent some time on Farah. Now your Dragon Strike Graviton combo is ready to be served up by the San Francisco Shock, and Sinatra sneaking around it, but that was so risky. Hotbar was right there when the Dragon comes through and it gets the job done. Hotbar falls, Beck and all. Baby Bay will be charged up against the wall, but Sato here, Sleepy just wants to get in his face. He wants to get down and dirty. And that's the answer for the Shock to find the Wombo combo.
Yeah, and Sato actually hits a pretty big Earth Shatter. He connects with 3, but at that time everybody else is already dead there. For the Philadelphia Fusion, a good point B defense. It'll be completed though by the San Francisco Shock to go into this final stages of the map. And I know, look, it's so difficult to defend that grab dragon combo. There's really nothing Philadelphia could do there outside of play so split and so apart from each other.
Which doesn't make sense quite often because you can't benefit from a Reinhardt shield if you're split.
All the Shock have to do is walk up to the payload and force them to group
Still,
up, right?
Sinatra sent that grab right towards the back of Hotbar. Now, if he'd 180 to nade that, that would have been egg on his face for sure. But it wasn't, so we digress.
Look, hey, that's why you like they're the young guys on the Shock. I don't want to say they're cocky, they're pretty confident, right? They just want to go out there and make some plays. It'll be takes out Sato. It's a nice tire from EQO, just trying to waste some time here.
Right, you take that for your Sinatra.
Yeah.
Working down that Riptide. Now, it does buy a couple of seconds for the Fusion, but they really would have wanted some damage there. That's the real pressure valve, is getting a couple kills to that ultimate. Super has an Earth Shatter here. Now, you can see the Fusion are playing split to the left-hand side and the middle purposely. His EQO is trying to play in a position just to bounce grenades off the walls and the payload, but Hopper gets desuited already. Here's the grab coming in, though. Transcendent's immediate response. Now, where's the burst damage? There's not really any, but Super lays down the Earth Shatter. And then Transcendent's here by the Fusion. Doesn't really get them too much at all. They bring EQO back up here, but Super wants a piece of him. He'll have him now with Choyobin, and Baby Bay's in position with that Dragon Strike to really make it hard to get out of spawn.
Once that grab came down from Carpe, where was the follow-up? They couldn't follow up because Sinatra lays down a grab of his own. They're able to follow that up with some damage. As Sinatra and Carpe both play a very strong Zarya. I can't remember ever seeing Carpe play a Zarya.
I have not.
Honestly,
your memory's better than mine, and I have not.
Carpe can pretty much select anything, and I would believe he plays it at a high level. As both players, finishing with very good Zarya ult charge time, a good amount of Graviton surge kills, very even across the map.
I think these are two of the most fun teams to watch a lot of the time map, because they really love to get aggressive now. Let's see, this is that Graviton. Oh, Sato knocked off the edge. That really hurt them there. Sato didn't have an Earth Shatter, but he definitely could have charged it up, hitting into that Graviton. With the Transcendence in play, it's unlikely that anyone from the shock would have really died from that one, because there wasn't a Dragon Strike to back it up. But still, that would have been a shatter for Sato to answer Supers.
Very interesting there. Didn't catch that. So it's great about having replays, right? Yeah. Some things like that. The game happening so quick. Not able to see it. Interesting comp from Philly on their first point defense. Double main tank.
Double shield tank. It's like you have a high ground shield tank and a low ground one. So like you can play both high and low ground and still have.
But what usage do you get out of the Orisa outside of having a barrier for the sniper up top?
I think you sit a Zen up there as well.
Yeah.
I think your Zen's, because your Zen's much safer playing on that ledge than on the low ground with the Reinhardt. Whereas with the Reinhardt, I guess you might have the Mercy, you might have.
But at that point, wouldn't you rather just have a diva to sit down on the point and contest?
I think you're trying to prevent an attacking team from just pushing you onto the point and forcing you down. Because you're kind of already on the low ground, you kind of already have a positional advantage on that low ground.
But you do kind of get forced down anyway, because your Brigitte, and while Reinhardt just doesn't have enough self-sustain with the Brigitte there.
I think, well, you have the Mercy as well. I think the idea is to have a presence at least on the low ground at all. I'm not saying it works.
Oh, I know. I think with how many pick compositions you see on offense, putting your Mercy in that type of position down on the ground.
Not fun.
Not ideal, especially like what you could do with the Shakti is just go through the left side of the hotel, just go for a pick. Really interesting at the beginning here. So you do see EQO now play Hanzo, but it was a positioning from Baby Bay. He actually wasn't behind the shield at top. He actually went to the side of the hotel, tried to get a cheeky pick from the side. Interesting position taken here by the Fusion. They're trying to just muscle their way up the staircase.
Okay, I thought in Philly people would prefer to take it outside than inside. For whatever reason.
Oh, that was a good one.
The Fusion takes bro. They're set up on the high ground here, and they at least want to try and control this little quadrant. Carpe sees the Riptide coming, realized he didn't have a shield available, so all he could do was run. That's a clear indicator to Sinatra that Carpe didn't have his own barrier.
Sinatra gets that tire in 42 seconds because they're all the tanks clumped up inside of that small hallway. An ideal spot for Junkrat to spam.
Well, that's why it's so curious that they want to play through that. I guess they're trying to just take that ledge away, but then you still need to play through some tunnels and chokes, right?
Yeah.
Curious. Well, that didn't work, suffice to say.
So this is what Philly could have done with a diva on defense, right? Choyobin just sitting around the corner. He can just play with an Orb of Harmony. From Sleepy, they can both kind of just keep an eye on the point. Then he can just fly right back up and get some more healing when necessary, as it'll be Neptuno using Valkyrie, same from Moth here. Maybe Philly just trying to force some ults out.
Doing the good man's work there, trying to break that shield down. Hotbar, good positioning on the point, but they're a little bit split. Carpe and Sato are quite far forward. EQO picks the tire out of the sky instantly. And look at this good position they've got here now. EQO doesn't even have to flank. He actually lets his tanks go forward for him. And then just wreck them. Boombox gets his double. Matt, we talked about Boombox this week.
Yeah.
Saying that his stats aren't good or aren't bad. They're kind of middle of the road, but the Philly Fusion need him to really be in that top percentile of Zenyatta's to help them get across the line here in the overall playoff situation.
He is, when you look at stats for Zenyatta, he is at the league average.
Okay, he's at average.
He pretty much like a little bit below or a little bit above in some categories.
But that what makes you a top 8 player. You want to be a top 4 then, of course, if you really want to be contender here.
Well, I mean, there's probably been a few other players that have played Zen on occasion, so he's probably more like in the top half of like the top 24 or so players that have played in Overwatch League thus far on the hero.
It sounded nice with nice, didn't it?
Yeah, I tried to make it sound cool.
Here's the Graviton surge. Dragon's tried to cut through. It was only Super that was actually caught in that one. The Shock did a good job of splitting quite well.
Could have been much worse.
I'll lose one tank. You happy with that? 2 ultimates for a Reinhardt? Yeah, we take those. Baby Beidou's gone down to Carpe, who's quite aggressively just up behind Sato. And Sato has an Earth Shatter, so he'll just be more than happy for the Shock to attempt to push out.
Now it got worse.
Now we're not in great territory.
Now it definitely got worse. So you lost your Zen. It'll get res right back up though, so maybe you can make a fight out of this, but you're not close to a grab, you're not close to a dragon right now. It'll be Neptuno with a Valkyrie. Sato's just trying to line up this.
Oh, straight into a barrier, son! Can't be happy about that one. And now the self-destruct at the backside fighting EQO, the Transcendence there. I mean, the Shock, in all fairness, a couple of ultimates used by them there. Sato's back, but that Resurrect is very low value as he is brought back up in the midst of the enemy troops.
Well, Sato pushes so far up to try and get this Shatter. He's so focused on the Shatter that Xiaoben just launches his self-destruct over the top. There's nothing to protect anybody else back by the cart. So now you've given an opportunity to get the grab Dragon for the San Francisco Shock.
Matt,
they have nothing to defend it either.
Sato has 0.25 people starting per Shatter on this map.
Okay. No, I mean, Super's not much better, but still. I feel like Reinhardt as a hero with the ultimate, like you just, how many players do we see go to these big ones? This will be a big combo now put together. As the Dragon goes through, the kill already happens before the Dragon passes on through the grab, but the pickup kills will come out of this. Is Philly going to be forced back? But
how many? So big.
How
they
many
spawned so far away.
How many large shatters did we used to see? And now, like, we hardly see, like, any anymore, right? I feel like it's a lot of Reinhardt trying to line up these big shatters.
It's also Zarya. Zarya can protect 2 people, theoretically, herself and someone else from a shatter. So this is how you set this one up. Sinatra this time doesn't fire a long-range Graviton into a Diva Mech, which is, I like this. Now, but this is also why he doesn't get as much value for it either, because he drops that very short. Maybe he got a glimpse of Hotbar in the distance and thought he didn't want to chance it.
Yeah, as soon as he sees Hotbar towards like that back right-hand side of the screen, he just looks directly to his left and like hits the wall because you can't like hit with the defense matrix that hits the wall right away. So
fair enough. Now the Philly Fusion have the wombo combo, Matt. And Carpe would like to drop it in on top, I'm quite sure. And looking for a chance. He sees a Mercy sort of out of position. Wow, Baby Bay, okay. Another Dragon Strike.
Forces out Transcendence, though.
Yeah, you're really happy with that one. Now the grabs. Oh, dear.
Oh, no.
Your boy Choi just ate that one up. Thanks for the nutrition, fam. He's getting his gains. Now the Fusion forced inside the hotel.
And the difficult part about that is that you really just want the Dragon for the grab, is that now the Dragon really does nothing, right? So you kind of, with that one grab wasted, you kind of waste both ultimates. Now with only a minute to go, you have Shatter, grab, and you're going to have another Dragon here for the Shock. They use the grab early.
Oh, the shield there again from Super now. It comes back in with both Earth Shatters. In fact, only one person's done between 2 Earth Shatters there, but Carpe's able to pick up the rest. The cleanup is good, and EQO's there with 2. And the Philadelphia Fusion will eventually break through. Again, it was messy, to say the very least, but the Earth Shatters coming up clutch. And the Shock, the Graviton,
And they don't try and combo the grab with the Dragon. There, they decide not to. So
now you're going to have... I mean, you can force positioning really well. Now you're playing, again, sort of in quite a choke scenario, so you can still get value from Dragon.
It'll be maybe using the Dragon, split some players off. Sato gets really weak, he'll end up dying to the Dragon.
Yeah, that's really nicely done. Carpe also fall into Sinatra, a lot of the damage coming from Hanzo as well. It also forced Boombox away from the rest of his team. Now, you technically still have line of sight if there's a Dragon in front of you as Zenyatta, but it's quite hard to see who to E or shift.
And Moth will use Valkyrie out of this as well, just trying to keep Super and Xiaoben alive. As the Shock will get aggressive, I think this is the right play from San Francisco. If you can force Carpe and EQO to use this combo a little bit earlier than they would like to, that would be a pretty big win. Maybe and then you're going to have your own combo.
You feel bad if you trans into their grab Dragon Strike and you still lose the fight because Sade is going to be in there. Let's see how this works out. So Super's caught in there. Okay, the Dragon Strike, not committed. Oh, Baby Bay's lucky to be alive there. The Transcendent's actually really helping. No kills from the combo. No, I take it back. Hotba finds 2 in the back. Sleepy and Baby Bay are down, but the Hanzo is brought back immediately. Super has an Earth Shatter, but he's pressured out so hard, and Sato swings the hammer, rings him like a gong. And Baby Bay probably just has to die in the payload here. He's got no other choice.
Yeah, and Sinatra uses his grab, and I don't know if Baby Bay got the Dragon off, but he got rezzed, and then the self-destruct comes down. I'm not exactly sure if he actually got the Dragon off.
Oh dear, special delivery, family. That's so nasty. Super had an Earth Shatter too, but didn't have a chance. Sato, I think you almost freaked out for a moment there. By the way, Carpe got 4 kills at the end there. I think Sato freaked out, realizing he charged a shielded Reinhardt, and then said, well, I got a panic button here sitting on my desk. I've got the launch code, so to speak, and he lays down a big shatter.
Just as we were talking about how there aren't any big shatters anymore, Sato hits one, knocks down like, what, 4 players in the
their
spawn,
of course.
Yeah.
Legitimate strategy.
It's about as good as you can get.
It is valid.
So what do the Shock now run on offense? As Philly finishes with a little bit of better time. Minute and 11 seconds.
I have very high hopes for this match.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
If this map is anything to go by.
I would say these are 2 of the most fun teams to watch play. Like, they just play like a fun, like, brawly style. Like, you really see a lot of, like,
take some risks.
Individual skill come out with these players. Like, yeah, they take risks, right? Like,
a lot of people also style themselves as playmakers on both these rosters.
I mean, you can tell when the Shock decide to use, like, Valkyrie in a 4-on-4 situation, and they just have, like, 1 tank alive, and Sinatra's like, oh, this is winnable, let's do it. Like it's kind of cool. See 2 teams just kind of play like this. All right, this is, they're going to use this composition. We saw it a little bit earlier with the Lucio, Moira, Brigitte.
Yeah, only
triple tank coming.
only the 1 shield tank this time for the Fusion.
Yeah.
So they're not playing with the Reinhardt additionally.
They're going to force the action on the point, though, the Shock.
Okay, so Super Sato, yeah. Only 9 players getting stunned by them. Very effective. But hey, when you get them so often, you can use them more frivolously, right? The Shocker moved on to the point already, Matt. Choikobin going fairly deep and being desuited. Baby Bay realizing now he doesn't want to be there without his D, but the whole point was to try and save Choikobin. So back to the point. And now they're getting ground down a little bit. Or a lot.
Yeah. They're trying to escape. Baby Bay will fall. They're probably going to get another crack at this here. So a lot of people, you may question the Zarya in this situation. Not really going to build up towards that grab. Sinatra switches off. We'll play Roadhog here for the pick potential. EQO with a Riptire could end everything for the Shock. Baby Bay also makes a switch. You're going to have the supports move as well.
Carpe again trying to make the play. We talked about these individuals. Philadelphia Fusion might have thrown the full hold away with that push. EQO now trying to save things with a big Riptire. Oh, he got 2! That's so nasty! And the Philadelphia Fusion now rubbing their hands together greedily. They're definitely in the driver's seat. The Shock now on their last legs. Supercharger committed to the fight just to make sure they got the damage to push them over the line. Nice hook there from Sinatra, but he'll be paying for it with his life. The Philadelphia Fusion will hold the point.
And I wonder, so Moth, yeah, I know. Moth flies towards the hotel to Baby Bay there when the Riptire is coming out. I wonder if they kind of gambled and we're going to have Baby Bay like try and scatter the doorway when the tire comes through, and EQO just got it off at the right time, because there's no way you would opt to fly into the hotel to a teammate and get both of you killed rather than get one of you killed. So.
I'm sure there'll be some choice words shared about that one. Let's actually see how that went down.
Let's take a look.
Might give us a little bit more information on that one. So, Baby Bay, at what point does he turn? And so, no, he doesn't have scatter on cooldown. That's the problem. He doesn't have it.
So maybe he's just trying to hit it.
Yeah, he is. He's trying to hit it, right?
He hit it once. Yep.
He hit it once. Not enough. Okay, so the idea was there. Moth's like, go, bro, save me.
Shoot the tire, shoot the tire.
Right, so in typical Shock fashion, now, and I say this with the warmest of hearts.
They do get a decent percentage.
Yeah, but again, with the warmest of hearts, Baby Bay, 15 deaths, Super 13 deaths. Next closest on the team is Sinatra with 9. So again, so Super often playing the aggressive role, and Baby Bay definitely being picked out of the mix here, Matt. A lot of deaths for him. On the side of the Fusion is EQO and Sato, but Hotbar with 3 deaths, Boombox 3, Neptuno 2. These guys are this is not the hyper-aggressive Fusion we knew in the Fraggy era.
No, look, we said we wanted to see Boombox play better. Definitely has on the flex support so far, as Carpe will play Hanzo here. Neptuno was playing Lucio, trying to speed boost everybody in. He dies right off the bat, so now it's interesting. Do you go in and take damage? Because if you go in and take damage, then Boombox probably going to lose all of his healing resources, right? You don't want to waste it now. You want to waste it on a fight that you probably can win.
No, your only healing resources without Neptuno are sort of very conditional. Carpe taken down there. I love this adaptation by Choihyobin. I think they're in trouble. Hotbar doesn't have the defense matrix to help Neptuno get out easily with Boombox, so they both have to use their respective mobility abilities. Normally, Carpe on this map just flanks the high ground and kills the Widowmaker with a scatter shot, but Choihyobin chased him. He saw him try to flank around and picked him off. I love that.
He's done that route so many times throughout the Overwatch League. You know, through the hotel, to the underpass, to the high ground where you see Baby Bay is at now.
Okay, here's that Riptide coming in. It could be a big one, it is. Sinatra gets 2. Neptuno and Sato missing. And Hotbite to be desuited here. It seems that neither team are really able to get too much on the point, and the shot got a little bit more, Matt. 52.2 for San Francisco. They're going to be very pleased about that one. And there you have it. San Francisco take King's Row on virtue, Matt, of having a slightly better attack on the second run through the map.
That map was a slugfest. Both teams just dueling it out. A lot of deaths from both sides, but a fun one at that. The Shock come out on top. A big tire from Sinatra puts map 1 away. We'll have map 2 right after this break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel. Intel Core i7 powers the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's fastest network ever. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Good start for Philly. They may have it here. Philadelphia pushing through.
Looks like the Shock have found the key to taking the point.
A blindingly fast offense here for Philadelphia Fusion.
Filth!
And the shock! You better believe it!
Oh, it was so close. Carpe refusing to give an inch now.
This is where the fight begins. Poco! Oh, Sinatra!
Can they stop it? Can they finish it?
We're just getting started here, ladies and gentlemen, in the Blizzard Arena, of course. San Francisco Shock, Philadelphia Fusion. A match we said would be a slugfest. Two teams who love an aggressive play style, who are very hungry. And so far, the first match delivered the goods.
Yeah, a lot of good play all around from both teams. It was a very close map number 1. Just so fun watching some of these guys play, like, you know, Carpe, Sinatra. Sinatra's expanded his hero pool a little bit since coming into the league, right? You know, we've seen him, obviously we knew about his Zarya, but you see him play some Junkrat now. You saw some Roadhog during that map. So a lot of nice things from both teams, even for the future. You know, we talk about the Shock as a really young team. You know, the Fusion, you know, this is a roster that didn't get to play at all pretty much before Overwatch League together. I know they come in, they kind of put together some pieces. They add some pieces towards the end of the season. They're still a team figuring it out.
Half of this team, I guess, sort of wasn't present at the very beginning. So you're seeing, you know, a real transition in terms of this roster over the whole season so far. Interesting first match. We saw the Fusion really try and play it with double shield tanks. They must have had an idea there. Architect, my favorite smile in the Overwatch League.
Yeah.
Coming in now, of course, and wow. This guy's really interesting because we see him high damage on Widowmaker, but his accuracy, his scoped accuracy is actually a bit lower. You see this guy he just fires a lot of shots per minute. He's very flicky, very flicky, but he's one of the players that sort of connects with a lot of those shots. Now, it is easier, I'm told, to be a flicky or flick-based Widow player on this LAN client. You hit those things a lot more. Baby Bay was saying about that at the start of the season, but he's everywhere at once. He's very active-minded, this guy. You can watch it through his eyes when he plays Widow.
Yeah, it's we can kind of compare like a flicky Widowmaker to somebody who kind of has more of a static aim,
Hold
right?
the line,
You can see like, you know, just more of the smoother movements through the crosshair. Somebody who's just trying to flick shots, you know, just kind of imagine like taking your mouse from like the bottom and just kind of like winging it up towards the top and just firing at the head. So
I feel like Lynx is a similar sort of flick-based Widowmaker.
Yeah.
Back in the day, especially when you could scope in and out much faster, yeah, he was definitely that kind of player. So we'll see him on this map. Now, not necessarily on the Widow to begin with. They might just want to play full dive mat into Philly's very standard anti-dive composition. This is very much the status quo on this map. Seeing the Orisa and, of course, the Junkrat with the Widow combined. Double dive DPS for San Francisco.
And look, you have the 2 DPS for the San Francisco Shock on their, you know, I guess you can make an argument for Architect with his Widowmaker, but you're going to make an argument their 2 best, Carpe, it's another shot on the Sinatra, on their 2 best DPS heroes. So you have Sinatra play his Tracer, which he's most known for, and then Architect's Genji, as we mentioned, that'll be a mine from EQO, or maybe it was a halt, actually. Just bring Sleepy up into the air.
We saw that from Sinatra. He can't catch a break against Carpe in the open field. He takes a shot, recalls, and then as soon as he finishes his recall, he gets shot in the back again.
It's a nice angle here from Carpe. Grapples up.
Is he standing on the tire?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. But you can see him standing there is also causing some jitters in the screen. I wonder what that is. Maybe you're just not supposed to swing on that. Get down from there. You hurt yourself.
I mean, that's that would probably be the intent of that tire. It's really no.
Well, I don't think it's not easy to get on with any other hero. Anyone with like a larger model size like Winston, you can't.
He's gonna force these recalls from Sinatra so early, just landing these body shots on him.
No one can
He gets some heals now, but now knows exactly where he is. The infosight here used by Carpe.
65% scoped accuracy. Pretty damn good.
Decent.
See also Poison Mind Connection revealing the location of Tricobin, if I'm not mistaken. He's desuited there by Hotbar. Wow, the Fusion look very solid on this map, defensively speaking. I remember a time when this map was horrendous for them.
And I wonder when you see a change potentially come in for the San Francisco Shock. Sinatra stuck out here in outer space. Philadelphia knows.
Nerds in Space, the sequel.
They're not able to get him. I believe he makes it out with his life.
I mean, he recalled to put himself back outside.
Yeah,
I mean, that is a risk. That's a risk, but it's also a very important point of entry to get behind the Orisa barrier without taking a ton of poke damage early. But you can hear the doors open and close a lot of the time, And if you're the Fusion, you immediately go outside and try and just outnumber him in general. And I don't think Tracer's great in that anti-grav environment. Maybe we need to get a tier list from Johnny. Another power ranking for like anti-grav heroes. Sure, you could tell us.
Well, I think you can come through that top area if you have teammates jump on top, because there's so much sound in general kind of blocks out the sound of the
You need to
doorway.
occupy them, right?
Yeah.
All right, so EQO, his Riptide being down is a good start. Now, Architect, okay, so it's only inanimate objects actually being killed by the shock so far. Nothing actually breathing or bleeding, as it were. But there is Hotbar. Carpe could be in deep trouble here. Really not much you can do about that one. We've seen Architect play from this position before. Remember last time he slashed a Riptire as it came towards him. 2K with the blade. Be very happy with that.
It's a big 2K though. They're able to get Carpe out in Neptuno, and then Boombox uses Transcendence as well. So both support ults gone from Philadelphia. You're going to have a Transcendence as you approach here towards the next point for the shock. So Philadelphia switches EQO over to Brigitte.
Yep.
I would say Sinatra on Tracer has done a very good job throughout the Overwatch League thus far of navigating the Brigitte while you're playing Tracer. He's one of the...
Have you heard him complain about playing against her as Tracer when he played when he streams ranked? It is hilarious. He is give you salt. All right, so the Fusion, yeah, they switched to the Ryan comp here. They actually don't have Brigitte. They actually went to the Junkrat instead.
switched back, yeah.
So maybe like a little bit of J-Krat from the rafters kind of play. It seems kind of risky against a Widowmaker, but... Well, it depends who Widowmaker's better, I guess,
Okay.
yeah. EQO down though, we did dive to that self-destruct, and he was actually behind the little wall there on the left of screen, so that's unfortunate for him. Well-placed self-destruct in general. Troy Coburn, well done.
Those two snipes by Carpe though probably put this away.
It's all it takes
Okay,
sometimes.
we're gonna use a Transcendence here.
This doesn't make much sense. There's
No.
3 shock players inside that. The rest of them are up on the high ground. That is not a trend.
There was nobody even there. It was just both tanks in Sleepy. He tried maybe to keep Moth alive, but Moth falls. You had both DPS coming off the spawn.
Those orange traces across the screen, by the way, that was Neptuno trying to heal Carpe.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering, it wasn't being shot by Architect, as you could see. Right, so we're gonna go in now. The Reinhardt. I love a bit of Neptuno Ana here. Let's go. Nano boost on towards Sato. He's got himself a little bit of that armor.
And they run away.
Not having any of it.
Well, that's the benefit of having a Lucio, right? You just get the speed boost right on out.
Well, being able to disengage away from ultimates you don't want to tangle with is fine, in my opinion. It's great. But, I mean, there are other limitations of playing the Lucio. Hotbar's the one that gets knocked down, but the rest of Philly Fusion can come back. Good shield by Super, though, protects his team, but he's hit with that bio grenade. Neptuno goes down, but his legacy lives on in terms of the anti-healing that was given to the shock. But they managed to persevere regardless now. Charge back across the point. And actually, Super managed to connect with Hotbar somehow with a crazy long-distance charge. Carpe now, returning with a bit of a flank here, but he needs to find instant kills. He can't just take damage away from these guys. It's too much healing for the shock, man.
That'll be the point taken for the San Francisco Shock. 2 minutes and 51 seconds. You know, they tried to dive into Super when he was hit with the biotic grenade, not getting any healing. He's so close to dying. Jayobin actually goes right after him. And then the sound barrier comes down right as the effects wear off.
Quick, somebody get him heat pads.
Yeah.
Stat.
Super gets back up to full HP, charges on in, and they're able to take the point.
Impressive stuff there from the San Francisco Shock. And also credit, I mean, we saw 2 Air Shatters brick again, but maybe that's just the way things are right now. He's Architect, so watch him. Look how, I guess it's a high sensitivity. I don't know how he finds that shot. Don't ask me. And again, he's able to get around the side here. At this moment, Carpe is also flanking, but getting very little done. So, I mean, Architect broke open point A, Matt, with his Genji. B, with his Widowmaker. 6 final blows for him in general. Obviously, the highest on his team. He accounts currently for half of the final blows on the San Francisco Shock. This guy's a monster.
Look, I mean, he can play the Widow at a very high level. You know, the Genji, insane. Same with the Pharah as well. So brings a lot of nice heroes. Look, they've decided on, like, I guess, like a 3-player DPS rotation here for the Shock with Sinatra, Architect, and Baby Bang. Sinatra seems the one that plays most of the time. It seems like he's like always in the game. It's interesting. Like, I mean, you could have made a case that Dante was their best one before Sinatra and Architect came in the lineup, and he can't find
That's
any
a, that's a feels bad.
But that just shows you
miss him.
how strong this roster is, though. I think top to bottom. So
Embarrassment of riches, phrase we've used before.
it's an interesting Orisa shield there.
Yeah, Super's just showing off. That's fine.
Is that showing off? He's essentially
Yeah, he's showing us how good his barrier
shot his
placement is.
ability up there.
I'm sorry, Matt, but not everyone is as hard to please as you are, bro. All right? Philly Fusion on the attack now, so they do run the Widowmaker on attack. They're not even messing around with this double, double dive DPS. No Genji, even though EQO is quite proficient.
And Neptuno will play Sombra. So this is a rare occurrence where we'll see Boombox play Mercy. Boombox.
Don't see that much at all, do we?
No, Boombox a flex support, so don't get an opportunity to see that often.
Neptuno
gets killed early.
was the original Sombra player. In fact, back when we had, when Sombra used to be incredibly strong, if you recall that she would get a lot of ult percent from her health packs, Neptuno was on a team called Movie Star Riders with Swoosh and a few other players, Logix as well. Very dominant team in the EU region back before the Overwatch League, and he was the Sombra player. Very good at it. Very good. EQO charges in, that one finds Architect, so Neptuno didn't really have to find that one. Getting rid of the Widow was so big here now because the Shock have to commit even more of their dwindling resources to try to contest the point, and they have to commit the Orisa barrier here. So that means they have to give up the high ground. And this is all a result of getting that pick on the Widowmaker. Now EQO just keeps them busy. Now they're being stretched apart, mate. They're put on the medieval rack, so to speak. They don't know where to put themselves, the Shock.
So it looks like Super and Choyobin just kind of standing on the point here, trying to hold it down, but everybody's falling here. Sinatra, he really loves this low grab area.
Congratulations, first Australian in space, mate.
How much time has he spent out there during the game?
Oh,
Now he'll jump off the side in outer space as he's not able to make it back in.
Now the problem is, grenades don't work in space. You don't have oxygen to cause combustion. Doesn't make any sense. We can have explosions in space, but not outside. You can't just, you need oxygen, whatever. Anyway, the Fusion on the attacking side now. We're going to be having this, at least a pulse bomb to commit to this fight. They're in a good position. Look how far forward they're pushed already. They've got Neptuno deep behind enemy lines doing his Sombra thing.
That Boombox does have Valkyrie. We'll see if they try and use it offensively. Yep, there's going to be the Valkyrie that comes in from Boombox as they touch the point.
Oh no! Oh, that's definitely a ding-dong dash if I've ever seen it, Matt. Carpe deals with Moth there and Chokobin's desuited. Architect has it infraside, but he uses it now at his last possible opportunity, I suppose. There's not going to be another better chance for it here. Architect throws himself desperately at the point and sleep. He's there with the Transcendence. Oh, they definitely needed that Riptide to do some more work, but Sinatra just wasn't able to make it happen.
That was quick.
And they're up by about 2.5 minutes.
That was real fast. Really no defense there played by the Shock on point B.
Yeah, I mean, look, they got the Sombra and Tracer very early, sort of into enemy territory, and when you throw a pulse bomb, you know, shame it's not Sunday, because there's no post on Sundays if you watch Harry Potter. Yeah, but no, they delivered a pulse bomb straight to Super, the poor guy.
So, once that pulse bomb comes down, Choyobin's also demeched, and they have to use the Transcendence to just kind of move on in, just to get to the point.
Well, that never feels good, right? To be honest, not the first time. I mean, that time the Transcendence was completely out of necessity, right? But we did see, I think it was in the prior map as well, some of those Transcendences from Sleepy not quite coming off as he would have liked him to. You know, if you want to compare the two Zenyatas here, Boombox is getting his Transcendences about 15 seconds faster. He's a minute 44, and Sleepy is 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Boombox, though, with only the one final blow. Sleepy definitely getting involved in more. You can see Sleepy definitely has much more aggressive positioning. We saw him sort of way out in the open getting shot in the face by Carpe here. So we talk about people who want to make plays. The Shock is chock full of them.
I was just going to say, I feel like his positioning, he'll either have really strong looking numbers or he'll have some lackluster games. It's just going to...
And this is why Josh does this to us in ranked matches, because he watches these players. We can't blame him anymore for this.
You can see how a lot of the players on the Shock have those games, right? With how aggressive they play. Carpe loves his position up on the tire.
Okay, so no, he doesn't have jitters now. That's fine.
No,
He's
it actually gives them really nice sight lines.
Well, it's how you can't one-clip him from the ground. It's Tracer. Does Sinatra know he's there? No, he does now. Okay, Carpe, very low, gets an Orb of Harmony, but probably wanted a bit more healing. Neptuno does top him up. Sinatra. Oh dear. No more blinks, I think. Just the one. And use many of those up now. Architect is going to be in trouble in the small room with EQO.
Let's see this at the beginning. So this is a double mine, I believe.
Look at Super's health. Yeah. Yes, it was a double mine, Matt, but Super was already about 30% by the time he got up there, and that is the problem. That's the challenge on this particular map.
Well,
That's why you need your Diva there to really protect against a lot of that.
This next fight's going to be difficult with the Riptire from EQO. So it's devastating about Junkrat. It's that if you lose like one of these fights and you send the tanks up and he's able to get 1 or 2 or get some damage down on the choke, you're going to build these tires up every other fight.
That is such a strong spot from Carpe. Sleepy can't do anything about it. And Architect would like to help and get rid of Carpe, but he was discorded anyway, and Carpe can just change position.
And if he gets pressured from the point, he can just jump over right up top to the high ground. If they try and pressure him from the high ground, well, they're going to die. They have to go literally across the middle. It's like a death pit.
Great pick, though, by Sinatra on Neptuno, getting rid of the Mercy, who's still a little ways away from rejoining the rest of his team. Carpe used the infra site so he can try and keep tabs on Sinatra, who's just being an absolute pain in his rear end.
Still have this tire, though.
Oh, that shield got massacred pretty quickly. Now the Dragon Blade for Architect. Oh, he sees the Transcendence, and then they're backing up with a Riptire. Atkenchi's getting nothing done today. Holt, Super couldn't escape from the self-destruct. Nice job by Stardo there. Use of Holt just to make sure he get the kill from the self-destruct. Get some value out of that ultimate.
So you use Valkyrie in Dragon Blade, and you got them to use self-destruct, the Transcendence, and Riptire. And they used the Infrasight a little bit earlier. So you trade, what, two ults for pretty much 3 or 4? Not a bad trade there for the San Francisco shot.
And they're close to a Transcendence.
Yep.
Well,
They don't have their Mercy, though.
no. And that is really bad. In fact, they actually have to commit some players to the point without the Mercy in play at all. They might have to use a Transcendence just to try and keep them in the fight, but great self-destruct. Boombox is taken down. He was resurrected. He doesn't have that sort of the Transcendence available, but Carpe gets a point-blank shot, as we know he is able to. Neptuno pocketing him all the way to the bank, but there's still more work to be done. They've left Choice open and Super here on the point, but Architect's down. Carpe gets yet another one. Is this going to be a repeat of the Boston game? Mock getting hammered. They're Sleepy also so low. The Fusion can allow them to spend some time on the point, and Sinatra's missing now. No, they give up the points. The shock charge out at just the right time to stop the Fusion from contesting.
Yeah, and a lot of players from Philadelphia are stuck here. This is going to be a bloodbath as Boombox now uses his Transcendence. It's going to be Sleepy using the Transcendence, trying to keep him alive. Boombox still has his. He's somehow able to make it all the way back out.
I mean, Sleepy used the Transcendence there. Is that necessary? Is that really necessary? The Fusion, okay, Boombox uses his. I guess it was getting a bit dicey for them. I mean, there's no time left, right? Use it right here. We're in overtime because Super's on the point. Here's the Dragon Blade from Architect. It has to be big, but no one's really within striking distance of him. It's just Choi Hoban, and yeah, he gets the D-suit. Hopper's down, should I say. It was him. And the Dragon Blade finishes him off. This could be big. Architect gets 2 and needs to do more, though. It's just him and Sinatra to try and keep the dream alive for the shock. That is a huge pulse bomb. Unbelievable against Boombox with it. But Sinatra, it takes more than just that. More than just the moxie that we brought onto the point. Oh, so much happening in that last fight. It was actually possible. Like, when you see a team like the Shock, you just got to accept that it could happen.
No, there's not much that kind of throws me for a loop. But right there, like when they like Philadelphia is all like standing on the outside of point A, and point A has already been taken. Boombox, uses the Transcendence to get away. Sleepy basically uses the Transcendence to keep the Shock alive right on the point.
Yeah. No, I think he uses the Transcendence assuming that the Shock are going to get super aggressive, but I think Super was caught in a Junkrat trap on the point after capturing it, so he couldn't follow up.
And then EQO uses the tire at the end. So he's playing defense out. It's like EQO uses the tire pretty much like a little bit above where the mega health pack is here, like from the offensive side. What a crazy half.
I'm so done.
There's nothing from the moment they took point A to the end of the match really made much sense. That was...
I think I saw that in a World Cup game. I think it was Spain versus...
You see a lot in some of the World Cup games.
Yeah, Spain versus Sweden maybe, and I think it was Johnny that charged Bromas or someone like in midair as a mercy on Dorado.
I also watched the South Korean team play 5 tanks, 1 support during the World Cup.
Oh, I remember. Was that in Poland?
Yeah.
Good time that one, wasn't it? Flower played every hero.
Just because he wanted to.
Did you see him beat Poland's Farah setup with nothing but an Ana? That was
great. Pretty good.
Anyway, actually, Mart was the Farah player in that match for Poland. He's actually doing quite well in contenders. Saw him a little bit. Good luck to him. Big shout out to the Polish scene. I guess they're all sleeping right now. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Don't want to rub the salt in that wound, but
it's all right. When they watch the VODs, they'll know.
Yeah. Right, so that was the dive there, or at least the attempt was short-lived by Sada. We didn't probably really even intend to get on the ledge. Maybe just to try and force some cooldowns, and you notice he turned his head away, avoiding the headshot. I mean, the Shock have given up the high ground. They didn't really need much convincing to do that.
No, not at all. It's Philadelphia getting very close to one tick. It's EQO and Neptuno have really given them problems. Like, they keep alternating off the point, coming from different angles. You don't exactly know where they're coming from. It's Chayobin in a very difficult spot on the point alone.
Fusion not certain about committing here, and that's a problem because Chayobin's sort of been the bastion of strength. Not actually the bastion, God help us. The pillar of strength for the Shock on the point, but he was pushed off for just long enough for the Fusion to get a tick, and the Fusion have got all the time in the world. They can take their time here. 4 minutes to get this point, obviously just the one tick on the last one, so they play it safe. They've got an EMP charging right now.
I will say, though, we do see a ton of teams. Like, they just kind of wait around this point for a while to set up one attack, and then when it doesn't work, they immediately realize they don't have much time left, and then things kind of fall apart. So you see Philadelphia banking some of these ultimates like the EMP and the Valkyrie, especially one support ultimate. This has to be a good EMP, because Sleepy and Moth have both of their support ultimates. You gotta get both.
Oh, Sleepy! I don't blame you, mate, for using the Transcendence there, and in fact, the EMP still comes out after the fact. I don't love that. But they still get Sinatra and Moss, so maybe it's worthwhile. Even the healing was there. Carpe's down, the Architect picks him as he falls out of the sky. Sleepy on Asado because he survived the EMP, because he is using Transcendence, because Neptuno didn't care. Now, that was interesting, Matt. What do you think about the EMP use in general? Like,
well, I thought they were just trying to bait out the Transcendence, then he was going to translocate out and then save the EMP.
He translocated in.
Right. So he can't really do that, obviously, Then he just kind of goes on top and dies. I mean,
I don't love it, I'll be honest with you, especially against a, in my opinion, like a Sombra expert. But hey, maybe we're missing something, Matt. It's always a possibility. Sinatra and Sleepy down again. Now, Moss in a position to get the Resurrect. He chooses to bring Sleepy back into the fight now. And Architect's trying to stay safe on the point, but Neptuno always harrying. That's the word I was looking for.
Super, though, actually lands a halt there on Asado. Pulls Asado into Chayobin's self-destruct. So now you lose your main tank. Architect will use Infrasight. You'll gain a lot of vision. Sinatra switches off a Junkrat, comes back as Tracer. Probably didn't expect his team to stay alive that long. You see a Supercharger here as well.
Moth fell into a poison line. He didn't have enough time for his out-of-combat regeneration to kick in, or he didn't get any other healing. That's pretty brutal, and that was actually a window, believe it or not, for the Fusion to get in. This is not working out the way it's supposed to for Philly.
No, as the Shock have been able to hold on to this for so long with some great shots from Architect. Some very nice support play. Neptuno getting close to another EMP. EQO will switch off a Tracer, go to Genji. So, now remember how I was telling you, kind of play around these ults and you find yourself with no time. We are already down to 1:45.
I feel like once again, the Shock have looked vastly better in the last 5 minutes of this map, as well as the previous one. The Fusion were 2.5 minutes ahead in time bank. They had like 5.5 minutes.
So this is interesting. Now you play Dive with the Sombra. It puts Boombox in a difficult position. Almost has to use Valkyrie a little bit earlier because he has to pretty much just go into the fight with the rest of the team. Puts the Mercy very vulnerable.
Hey, Moss down. Carpe manages to get into the backline. It's been a while. We don't see much of his Tracer these days. And tell you what, he's still got it. That's the EMP being used there, and Super does get hacked on the point there as that Orisa, so no barrier available. I don't really think too many other people were actually affected by that one, maybe Sleepy. Regardless, you won't get a chance to see that as the Fusion will take point A and have a bit of time map, but not a lot, and they've used ultimates to take this point.
Yeah, I think that's the only player they actually connect with Super there, so. Do we see Philadelphia switch? 1:20 to take point B. You're gonna have a Pulse Bomb, you'll probably get a Dragon Blade before this is done as well. You're going to have both support ultimates come up here for the San Francisco Shock, and now it's Sinatra switching over to Brigitte. Going to have a rally. I think you're going to see some changes here. They're going to play Tracer, Widow, so now EQO play Widow.
This is Super Stage 3, right?
Yeah.
The Tracer, Widow combo was all the vogue back then. Now, there's a reason why it doesn't work. Her name is Brigitte.
Well, you have the Pulse Bomb. You kind of have to trust Carpe. If he goes in, lands a Pulse Bomb onto, whether it be like Moth or Sinatra, Architect, you feel pretty good. But Architect's got Infrasight up, so you're just going to have to wait this out if you're Philadelphia, because the whole idea is for Carpe to be sneaky on the way in.
Carpe and Sato here. just gonna keep tabs on Super, at least keep him busy here. He has to jump away, so he doesn't have that cooldown available. He'll get healed up. He'll get a repair pack and all the rest. Where's his bomb going? Well, under Sinatra's feet, and he's got it. He's found the pick against the Brigade to the hero that would counter him otherwise, and he's waiting here. He doesn't want to let Moth get in and get the Resurrect, but that's exactly what's happening. And just as Moth goes into Resurrect, Carpe's attention is taken elsewhere. So the door's open for Sinatra now to get back onto the point, and he's already making his presence felt. Self-destruct, Sinatra and Super take cover behind the pillar, and now to the high ground they go, trying to shut down EQO. Boombox, Sato, both down. Carpe on his own essentially here. EQO and the Widowmaker can't do much from so far away. Yes, Architect is down, but that's all they're going to get for this one. Carpe gets whipped into the next Tuesday. EQO must commit to the point. Just one tick is all the Philadelphia Fusion needed, but now it's all falling apart. It's all gone down in a screaming heap. Hotbar and a Soldier 76. You know it's done when you see that. And we will ultimately have the draw on this map, which for the Fusion, you don't love to see that.
No. So well-executed play by Philadelphia at the beginning with Sato and Carpe. Sato jumps in, takes that big shield bash from Sinatra's Brigitte. Then they have the pulse bomb, which ends up picking up the kill. Just not able to take the point.
The Fusion are way ahead in kills on this particular map, and Carpe was having a huge effort, but it wasn't enough. So 1-0 into half-time. The score is the shock lead. Let's hear what our experts have to say on this match, and we'll be back with the rest of the series after the break.
Don't miss the first ever Overwatch League playoffs live in Los Angeles at Blizzard Arena. Tickets are on sale now at access.com. San Francisco looking to keep their Stage 4 playoff hopes alive after getting the win on Kings Row. They draw out Horizon Lunar Colony to take a 1-0 lead over the Fusion here at the half. Welcome back to LA. We are live from the Blizzard Arena. I'm Puckett. You know the boys. It's Crumbs. It's Sideshow. And So far, this was looking like a very entertaining series. Carpe versus Architect on Horizon, Sinatra coming into action with Baby Bay for the first map alongside the Shock Heroes. This one back and forth, but the Shock are on top, and this is bad news for Philadelphia because that's the squad that is really in the overall season playoff race. If they lose this series, not only will they fall out of the top 6, they'll be passed by Houston and Seoul as they drop all the way down to 8th.
Brutal, but I knew that my faith in the San Francisco Shock would not be misplaced. You know, they're yes,
There it is, Tyler.
They're actually performing really well, but it's just a battle of the DPS right now. Both teams are just going wild.
Crumbs, walk us through some of the early action when we came to Kings Row as our first map of the day. Some interesting compositions were shown.
Not just compositions, but players behind them, Puckett, because we got to get a real treat for us. Carpe was busting out the Zarya. Previously, he had not played it in Stage 4 and only 8 minutes before this entire stage. And turns out this guy is a god.
Is there anything he can't play?
I actually feel like this game is just Carpe and the boys because Philadelphia Fusion, you know, we're watching this game backstage and I feel like if you are playing with Carpe on your team and you're doing anything but killing players, you're embarrassed. You're ashamed because this guy is so damn good that even his Zarya was putting Shock to shame. He got a couple of ults eaten by Choi Hyobin. Other than that, though, he is stellar.
Choi's had a great game, though, as well. Like you were saying, a couple of ults eaten. He actually ate a Dragon Strike after his team had been caught in a Graviton as well. And then they're able to push just to 50% and get the win on this map. And both times, San Francisco Shock have been put in positions where they have to clutch out a defense or they have to really play well in the final moments in Time Bank. That was classically where San Francisco would crumble.
Watch the Steve kill. Boom. There it is. All right, sorry, continue.
And now San Francisco Shock are mentally strong, I think. They can handle the pressure that Philly are putting on them.
I mean, it's mostly just Carpe, though. That's the thing. Philadelphia Fusion, the parts that aren't Carpe, basically literally everybody are not consistent. They're not making the plays. We saw Neptuna, he tried out the Sombra. Previously, he'd only be playing Mercy, but it just wasn't working for Philadelphia.
Yeah,
they're not utilizing these ultimates properly. The EMP was not there, and it really just comes down to how much can Carpe do, which is a little bit disheartening. You don't want to see it all hang on the fate of one player.
It can't just be Carpe, though. Let's talk about that second map. It drawed out. Is this a bigger win for the Shock that gets the draw, or is it going to be Philadelphia that draws out here?
No, that's a great result for the San Francisco Shock. Means that they only have to win 1 out of the next 2 maps that they've got coming up. They were actually facing a worse time bank than Philadelphia Fusion were, and they were able to hold it off the whole time. So I think that was really good for them. And Architect is having a great game. The team in general is playing really well, but you talk about the DPS that are popping off at the moment. Architect is having a great game.
Well, we're going to compare him to Carpe's Widowmaker, and Carpe did get to play a little bit more, 5 minutes more. Yes, but if you take a look at the overall impact that Carpe has been having in this game, I think it's indicative with these statistics. By having to play more Widowmaker, it's a hero that relies more on your own ability as opposed to the team play that Architect was doing. That is why he's not playing enough Widowmaker, and I think that Carpe's just going to play Widow the whole time. There's really no other combination because they weren't even getting the grab and Dragon Strike combo down to a T, so just put him on something that does everything on its own.
Josh, who would you rather have on your team, Architect or Carpe right now?
I think right now I'd rather have... I'd still rather have Carpe. I don't think it is an easy choice.
Really?
Mate, I'd pair them both up together. Architect can play the Genji, they can both play Widow, Carpe can play the Tracer. These two as a DPS duo would be nuts.
I like that call. Maybe Season 2. For now, though, let's talk about the DPS duos that are in the Overwatch League. We took it to Twitter, and we asked you guys, who is the best DPS duo? 29% of you went with London, Prophet and Birdring, Carpe and EQO from Philly. Number 2, though, and not enough love quite yet for the San Francisco Shock, maybe because they keep swapping out who that DPS duo is.
I've got a lot of love for the San Francisco Shock.
You do. In fact, we have so much love for the Shock over here. Quick reminder, we have Sideshow going with the Shock throughout this series. Do you still have faith in your Philadelphia Fusion? Do they keep their top 6 placement tonight, Crumbs?
Listen, I'm not taking this sticker off for anything.
I like that.
Philadelphia all the way. That's a new
I'll
Carpe
rip it off
logo,
when they
though.
lose.
That
When they
P
lose, I'll
becomes
take that off.
Carpe now. It's a C for me.
Carpe.
We'll see if Zoe can make you another fake sticker. All right, guys, that's going to do it for our halftime coverage. When we come back, we got at least 2 more games. Will we see another tie in a weird 5-game series? Probably not. It's impossible. It's going to be done in 4. We'll see you with the second half in just a few. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
Yeah, unlock the trunk. Hey, how's it going, man? I've got a few more things to grab, and I'll be right back. Whew. Got some camping stuff. Catch.
Camping stuff?
The huge. A little bit more. Hold on.
You said we were going to lunch.
Oh, Daredevil helmet, traffic cone. Yeah, you know me, man.
Huh?
I like to keep it safe, but also a little bit dangerous.
You gotta be kidding me.
Tripod for tripoding and luggage. That has, well, you don't need to know what's in there. Don't worry about it.
My God, how much stuff do you have?
Skis.
Why the skis, Doa? You don't even ski.
Yeah, I know I don't ski. Sometimes I just like to put them on and think, you know? Ugh. Couch cushions. I lost the couch, but I saved the cushions, so that's great. I think that's it.
Get in the car.
Oh, what's wrong, man? You feeling okay?
I'm feeling like you tricked me into helping you move.
That is precisely what happened. Well, it's your fault for having so much cargo space.
It's my fault for being your friend.
True.
Color outside the lines in the Toyota CHR. Toyota, let's go places.
Welcome back, boys and girls. The San Francisco Shock are currently up 1-0 on the Philadelphia Fusion at the half. It's been a bit of a scrappy contest so far, but some high-level Overwatch, so no complaints from me. Heads up to all you Twitch All Access Pass holders out there that tonight's Q&A is going to be with the man himself, Architect. So if you want to see him answer any burning questions, make sure you stick around after the matches are all complete. And as I always tell you, switch over to Command Center so you can check that out. Anyways, guys, the Philadelphia Fusion, they really need this game. They got one half to do it, so let's see if they can get back into it and send it on back over to our casters, Uber and Mr. X.
Thank you very much, Malik. And I know the audience here inside the arena would like a happy Architect. Yeah. That's Q&A after the game. So tune in for that one again. He's one of my favorite people in the Overwatch League, honestly, Architect. He's so sweet. He's a lovely guy. So let's see if the Shock can actually get a win to go into that game with. With a draw before half-time, I think Sideshow pointed out on the desk, the Shock going to need to win one of the next 2 maps.
Yeah, it's looking likely for a Shock victory, which hurts, obviously, the Philadelphia Fusion's playoff standings overall. You heard the guys mention if they were to lose this match, they fall behind Houston in Seoul, which they fall down. I mean, that's pretty much like the barrier at the end, right? I mean, that's like the final. Seoul, I think, is like, what, in 8th place right now? That's really all the teams that are in contention. So Philly would fall into a spot they would ideally not like to be in.
Let's play a game. You guys like games?
Yeah,
like games?
Yeah.
Let's play a game. Yeah? All right. Let's play Guess That McCree. This is one we're bringing back from last week.
All right.
McCree A, McCree B. Let's have a look at these stats. Now, this is between these 2 teams. So one is a Shock one is a Philadelphia Fusion McCree. Can you guess which one is Carpe?
I'm gonna go B is Baby Bay and A is Carpe.
All right. So B is Baby Bay. Oh, no.
No.
There you go.
Yeah.
So pretty close there, obviously, statistically. Now, the reason why we bring this up, this is relevant, because Baby Bay actually has sort of some of the highest deaths totals
That's
of
why I went
BPS
with.
players.
That's why I went with.
Right, and he
Baby
does.
Bay,
Like he just does a lot. He's out there getting the juice, right? That's what happens when you play aggressive. Carpe actually has more deaths on the McCree, and it's relevant here for a couple of reasons. Firstly, some substitutions that will make this comparison make a whole lot more sense as we go into Control, a map that we definitely do see a lot more of McCree on. You know, not entirely. Lijiang Tower, there is an opportunity for that play on Command Center, for example.
Yeah, so Baby Bay will come back in.
Yes, that is the substitution
for the Shock
we're alluding to.
that is the substitution that's going to happen. Nothing changing for the Philadelphia Fusion. It's interesting, during the game when I was talking about Boombox playing all that, not a lot of Mercy, right? I was asking Ben, I was like, yo, man, how much time has he played on Mercy? It's like 80 minutes. I was like, where did this 80 minutes come from?
Oh.
All on Junkertown. So we played on Junkertown in their setups. It took some talking with Sideshow. I ran out there. I was like, where did this time come from? And even he was like, what? And then he decided, he's like, oh, yeah.
How quickly we have forgotten our trips down under, Matt, huh?
Yeah, I forgot all those.
My.
Well, it's because Boombox in Stage 1 was like, they played the Bastion for a bit, right? He was their Bastion player, and then they started to move away from Bastion, but it's also, I know, chatting with Ben again, it's like Junkertown is actually one of the longest maps we have in Overwatch League, like in terms of like time played on the server.
Also one of the more grindy ones as well. And primarily time-wise, especially because we often see multiple playthroughs, quite often get close to the maximum sort of time allotted for either team. But now we're going towards, Command Center, which is why that comparison I thought might be relevant, although it might not actually be Carpe on the McCree here. We'll see if they actually come out of the gates with this. But Baby Bay's McCree, pretty spicy. Let's get it.
Very strong. And Architect will come out as Pharah here at the beginning of the Pharah Mercy combo. So Carpe will play Tracer. He'll need an EQO here on McCree. Much different comps than we saw in our previous series.
Oh, Lord, okay.
All right.
Settle down. The Resurrect can't even be completed there because Neptuno just kind of poops himself and heads back onto the rest of his team. Oh, all right.
He's locked in. So when we went out to the desk during the little break at halftime, you may have even been able to see it on the stream, is that Baby Bay was on the stage for the Shock. Everybody else, taking the halftime break, whatnot. He was on the stage warming up, probably listening to the coaches through the headset. So
he's probably listening to Migos, actually.
Or listening to some music in his headset warming up. So see him come out of the gates hot, not surprising.
I mean, he had 80% weapon accuracy after the first fight. Small sample size, yes, but he was hitting them bells. Again, chiming in with that damage. A lot of AD strafing here. And Architect, all he kind of has to do is just sort of, finish off the kills, or
Or just
start
put
them
down
off.
enough damage for, yeah, and just connect with one shot. So.
And Baby Bay resurrected here, brought back into the fight. Again, he stacks on McCree, but he dies so much less on McCree, which I find so interesting. And yeah, both those tanks are in deep trouble. The Shock are miles ahead of the Fusion already here on Lijiang Tower, and Baby Bay's on a mish, a big mish. And he deals with Boombox pretty comfortably. EQO has to think twice about challenging now. Baby Bay wins the first shot. They're afraid of him! No one wants to do with him at all!
Yeah, this is why. Alright. And this is why I picked him to be the McCree with the more deaths. You see the positions he's landing from, but
Don't matter if he got the aim back. All right, he's just gonna chill out for a second. Carpe hasn't really been able to pressure him too much. Now he's mad. He's well mad. Gets in, deals with Baby Bay. Also managed to kill Architect on his own. So Carpe sets up the fight win there. EQO finishes it off with the Deadeye and the pick on Super. Okay, Philly, I see you out there. I see you hustling.
And
but it's 76-3.
Yeah, I gotta say too, they're playing so aggressive there, the Shock. Like Baby Bay's hitting all these shots, right? And like when somebody starts to heat up, feel it on the team, everybody's like going, getting hyped, right? They probably just got a little bit too energetic there. Push it a little bit too far, let Philly take advantage.
We do know that the Shock like to pop off a little bit. Chasing glory. Baby Bay down to Carpe. And a pulse bomb here delivered by Carpe to no avail in the backline, and Baby Bay's back in the fight. You see Sado. He's taking a lot of damage and a very low shield, so he can't afford to be super aggressive for the time being. Fortunately, Hotbar's already helping him do that, and Carpe really chomping him a bit. Another removal of Baby Bay here, and the Fusion now starting to stabilize, Matt. They've not been forced to use these ultimates. They've got 2 support ones ready to go.
And Carpe's been able to get into the back line and just cause a ton of problems. So this doesn't seem like Baby Bay's really putting a large focus on taking him out. This will be a Deadeye from Baby Bay.
Yeah, it's just
gonna buy space, yeah.
I mean, the Shock hate playing in that corridor. It really sucks for them. But now they can move forward and play on the point. That's where they want to be able to flank around. There we go. Graviton comes in. Transcendence response might not be enough. Here comes the Barrage. He gets himself 2 off. Ready, coming down. That's what you're looking for the Shock. Just try and overload the damage, and eventually the Fusion crumble. And now they'll be chasing for the rest. Boombox had better days than Architect with the classic fade away. And there it is. Howdy to you too, my good sir. How goes it?
So you do have Super here with a Earth Shatter. Hotba with the grab. What do you have to combo with this? You're gonna have a Pulse Bomb soon. Is Carpe just lurking up?
Carpe has a package. He's the stalk right now. And the bomb is his baby. It's a big baby. Causes a lot of destruction. Hard to clean up after. There it is. The stick goes in, gets nothing with it though. In fact, the Shock look hardly really affected by that at all. Sado goes down. Tricobin combining with Architect to pressure down. This guy just hits everything. It's unbelievable. William Tell's out there, except he's looking for the head, not the apples. He eats them afterwards. Gets them gains. San Francisco. No one happier than Tyler, of course. Self-professed Shock super fan. I don't argue with him at this point. It's definitely true. Let's go back and see the last moments of that round, Matt, before we break this one open.
So I think Carpe's Pulse Bomb actually lands onto Chayobin in the grab, gets him charged up. So you see he's sitting at 99%
yeah, just
after the grab. Use the shield, flex all that damage.
Oh my, oh my.
There is nothing more fun in Overwatch, I believe, than being a fully charged Zarya just running through. Maybe a full damage new Symmetra, maybe it's a little bit more fun.
Just wiggle that mouse.
Yeah. I feel like Zarya's in first right now. We'll see how it holds up to the new Sim.
The only thing better than that is being a fully charged Zarya still with your barrier on cooldown.
Architect actually does a really nice job in that first round. Obviously, we highlighted Baby Bay a lot, able to make some flashy plays, hit a lot of nice shots, but Architect has 33% of their overall damage. So a lot of those kills that Baby Bay is able to pick up, it's Architect laying down a lot of that damage first.
I'm not sure. Super gets overwhelmed there a little bit in the front line. Getting that Juno was just huge for the Shock, and they get to win this fight now in a 4v4. Chokyoban waiting for his shield. Architect is there. Beautiful recovery, and Hopper, he might be looking good right now, but he's about to get his face lasered off, and he does. And that was EQO just popping in briefly before realizing that he had no teammates left.
And Sleepy made a big play there. He's actually caught in the middle with Moth as Carpe is trying to flank around the outside. Pretty much decided they can't be scared of Carpe and run to the point. He's just going to snipe them in the back of the head. So with the help of Moth, pockets Sleepy, they take down Carpe in the mid. Sleepy wins the 1v1.
Philly, again, realize they don't want to get too far behind again in this round. Last time was so brutal for them. Sado can't really catch a break, though. Now, EQO, you're brave man to play fire against this! Now, if you're the Outlaws, you say new sheriff's in town, but I'm pretty sure McCree doesn't really care what his title is right now. Sato down to Choikyobin, and Architect will chill with this barrage.
He's getting a dead-eye, it was below a minute up until this point. I mean, it was every like 58 seconds. Now it's like a little bit above a minute two, but just the damage that he's putting down on McCree, just a lot of burst damage and Pharah putting down damage constantly. It's very difficult for the Fusion to deal with. I'm surprised they're still playing the Widow into this.
Could you play a Widow Genji against this? I feel like you just kind of, put yourself in harm's way against this McCree. I guess, Carpe can protect EQO purely just by his own presence a lot of the time. I mean, he protect and attack, I suppose.
That's why you play the Widow.
Well,
but still, I mean, the Shock have every ultimate here coming into the next fight. And they're going to be fully stacked out.
Well, there's a Graviton here. There's two Gravitons. So this fight becomes a little bit harder to predict because it can depend on which Pharah is not caught inside the enemy team's Graviton. So let's see what happens here. Choikyobin, Baby Bay Super. All right, EQO gets his one off. Now, you don't care if you're the Shock. You do not care. You don't use ults. You're screaming at each other, don't use ults, because you can do the same thing to the Fusion and put yourself within arm's reach of winning the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really smart play for the Shock. One, they don't waste any ultimates. Two, they give Moth some more time to build towards Valkyrie, so it gives them even a bigger advantage coming into this next fight.
Well,
lose Sleepy though, so let's see if this will get rezzed up. It looks like it will.
Sleepy, a heavily first picked individual on a lot of these maps. Again, because he's often playing a flank or just trying to set up to help his team from a different position, and that can make him a little bit vulnerable sometimes. Baby Bay finds Carpe though. In the brief moment that he was up using his rappling hook, he got taken down by the Deadeye, and yeah, these two are going to be eating rockets now. EQO comes in. Sada's done work as well, so Architect and Sleepy are missing in this fight, but now there's no main tank for the Philadelphia Fusion, and Choikyobin, while not charged, has a lot of health, and that's a real resource for the Shock right now. Lasers Neptuno down. Carpe now has to sit away. That shield, of course, of Super makes it hard for him to get anything done, but he's looking for Sleepy, yeah. Sleepy's on his own coming in. Sleepy now can't pick against this.
No, he knows he's coming in. I mean, if he does, he has to use the Transcendence across. They have to have Baby Bay come back here and try and help him out.
Remember last time Carpe was playing from here?
Sleepy actually may try and fight this one-on-one against Carpe.
I wanted to. I mean, you may as well. If you're being prevented from joining your team by... Oh, no, he's going to get 2v1. Yeah. Transcendence to the point. It's not a terrible move, really, man, is it? At least he gets back to his team. They don't have that key ultimate, though. Now, Super, Earth Shatter. Big ultimate. If he can knock Sato out of the way or in a position where he can't protect his team properly, a Shatter could be just the ticket here. Definitely mind games. Some subliminal messaging coming between those two. Oh, Super! Okay! Trades out. Both Super and Sato are down. That's a huge move there, and perhaps not the right one for the Shock at this juncture.
You would have loved to have the Transcendence, so Super could have stood tall on the point. Yeah. Fought it aggressively. Carpe now with the Infrasight. This Philadelphia is going to creep up above 75% here.
I mean, you don't have a Diva as the Shock, so you can't go and collect like Sleepy and help you get back to your team. So I guess he's trying to make the best of a bad situation, going for that one-on-one, but the Fusion were going to give him a one-on-one? No way.
You may not have a res here for the rest of the game if you are the San Francisco Shock, so you have to play this smart. Philadelphia looking ever so better to take this point.
EQO getting above Architect, drop down now, and now here it is. Graviton Surge plus Barrage. Baby Bay gets the one kill, so they trade this one out. Oh, that's massive! Sato and Hopper go down to the Deadeye, but Baby Bay is taken out of response. It may not matter though. It's Neptuno, EQO, and Carpe. It is a proper 3v3 right now. Carpe trying to get around the backside and find the airborne Architect, but it's Moth the first to fall. It looks like the Shock, in their 3 players remaining, didn't quite have the muscle they needed, but Choikyobin, his timing is perfect. He needs to try and keep Super alive, but EQO can just peer over the barrier and get the shots in. Neptuno is missing, no mercy available now for the Philadelphia Fusion this time, but Carpe just going massive, removing Choikyobin. Sleepy comes in though, good response. That's revenge for the kill earlier on. But the players need to get here onto the point. Moth and Baby Bay both push in. The Tracer just gets gunned down. Boombox now returns on the Soldier 76. Moth removes. Sleepy gets yet another one here. There is a chance for the Shock. It's a slim one, but it's there. There's a barrage fairly close now. An Architect looking to try and find the 76. Boombox trying to back up. Architect 4 health. He doesn't get it. Boombox removes him now. Super and Choikyobin on the point. The Shock are so close to taking this one back. But now Carpe's here on the Doomfist, and that's got to be curtains for you. It is. Oh, it's getting real now, Matt.
Neptuno keeps this series alive. for the Philadelphia Fusion. Sleepy's on the outside of the point, picking up some kills. 95% towards Transcendence. Neptuno off the spawn as Lucio just darts on in. Takes him out right outside the point. Also, Neptuno playing Mercy as well. We take a replay look here from Neptuno. So, playing the Mercy as well. How many teams, when their main tank is dead on the point, opt to res one of their DPS players in this type of situation? You can see how close Sleepy was to that Transcendence there. As,
Sleepy got 2 massive kills in that last fight.
They opt to pocket Carpe and res EQO instead of bringing one of their tanks back. That's how much you trust those guys.
Every time Carpe plays this map, we get a fish fly through, by the way. So our observer's having a bit of fun. I see you, man. I don't see you, but you know, I see you.
Carpe right now.
Okay. Okay! Calm down! I just caught my breath from before!
He has 16 final blows. The next highest in the lobby, actually Architect, one behind him. Now at 16. Behind those 2 players, the next highest only has 12. So both of those players playing lights out.
Man, this is one of those games that really doesn't come along all that often. These 2 teams playing each other close, and individuals are going absolutely bonkers.
I tell you what, I mean, think back, I think Carpe's in the MVP conversation just from the standpoint of how consistent he has been as a DPS player all season long. I think you can make a case for Prophet as well for the same reason. I think Prophet obviously has had, I think, a little bit more help on that London team than Carpe probably has had here on the Philadelphia Fusion from an overall unit, but man, I mean, when he has bad games, you definitely see it with the way that Philadelphia plays.
They look
right?
very quiet.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Baby Bay knows he's endangered, but he finds EQO. That's a pick I don't think is resable as well, considering how far out it is and how dangerous it would be for Neptuno to try and bring that back. Carpe now being flushed. That is unbelievable. Just turns around, 180, bangerang, straight to the face. And he just finds Super now.
What do you even do?
Well, you don't.
You don't.
You just don't.
You just don't.
There is no do, there is just don't. I mean, Carpe clearly is just absolutely taking it to the next level right now, and there doesn't seem to be anyone on the shock that can stop this man.
This is like a playoff, stage 3 Carpe, right? Where he was just kind of going crazy.
I mean, his team needs it right now. If they lose this round, they're going to lose the series. And they're going to have to play out a map in a lost series. Sleepy!
He has 21 final blows with 6 deaths. Right now, scoped accuracies at 57% with an 18% crit accuracy. That's unreal.
EQO trying to emulate his teammates. Sort of reaches at glory there, and the barrage was pretty underwhelming.
He's going to challenge this as well.
Why not? He has Infrasight as well. Information is there. Baby Bay does not, but knows exactly where Carpe's peeking from. I think at this stage, yeah, you see the Winston come for you. You know you can't do much here, but EQO's found Architect on the point, so if Carpe can stay alive here, if he can, which so far so good, he's being pocketed by Neptuno, you get a lot done here. Neptuno cleverly sits on the health pack, waits for the respawn, and they've actually kept Super so busy right now. The Boombox can get onto towards the point. You see EQO is here causing a lot of problems. They don't have the tools to get rid of the Tracer, and the Philadelphia Fusion have the numbers to come back in with. Baby Bay finds Boombox, that's 1. He needs more than that. Chokyobin, a valiant attempt to stay on the point right now, but he's been shoved off. Baby Bay got Neptuno, though the Mercy is missing for the Philadelphia Fusion, but the effort here for the Philly plays in the dying moments is going to carry them across the line. There's definitely a feeling of that. Architect is down, it's just Super on the point, and that's it. He is removed, and the Philly Fusion stay in the series. And like it was meant to be, it all ends in map 4.
34 limbs, 21 final blows for Carpe. Pushes Philadelphia over the line in map number 3. We'll see if they can come out with a win in map number 4. Stay tuned.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League. Intel. Intel Core i7 powers the Overwatch League. And by T-Mobile, America's fastest network ever.
Pretty sure me and Bebe's call here was just stay so far back.
They swapped to Lucio, OG, and Harry Hook. Good pick.
Yeah.
Oh, somehow I died to Seagull.
I'm kind of just carrying the fight right now. I killed like 8 people. Architect's carrying the fight as well. He killed 6. And I win the map. And I'm ready for the next map. The next map is sick. Super actually carries this next map, surprisingly.
Keeps pulling people in. Surprisingly.
It's not something you see Super do often, but he pulls it off.
There you have it, guys. That was a sneak peek from behind the scenes, which is a little series we do where pro players go back over their matches from the previous week and give some comments. Good and bad comments, as you did see. It's only available, though, to All Access Pass holders. So get on that one and get around it. It's actually really good even for us as casters. I like looking over it and seeing what the players themselves are thinking at the moment. A little extra deep cut to the heart of a situation to get them more information, so it's a lot of fun. Matt, what is going on in this series?
It's chaotic. It's crazy that we see Carpe play that well, and he plays pretty well. I don't want to say like that,
How is
right?
Philadelphia
that is like unreal,
not in the playoffs with this kind of player on the team?
It's just sometimes they're not as coordinated as they should be. It's up and down performances from a lot of players on the roster. Sinatra comes in for Baby
All right.
Here. What will be our final map, but no, I mean it's a great question, right? With how good Carpe is, it's like it'd be. I would be. I don't get emotional about teams not making playoffs and whatnot, but I kind of want to see him play more. I love watching Carpe play.
Something tells me he's not going anywhere.
No. But I'm saying, like, see him in, like, a playoff form, right? Again.
Oh, man.
Like, see, like, how far he could get them in the playoffs.
I mean, that stage 2 playoff match. My God. Anyway. The San Francisco Shock was going to start on the attacking side. I'm more interested in what Philly are doing here. EQO Junkrat, Carpe, Widow. Not too shocking. But this composition, Matt, seems pretty standard now for the time being. Again, going to make that server room a little bit dangerous for the Shock to try and take, especially with Junkrat at large. And the Winston, obviously, will be the pick for the Fusion. Oh, Orisa, none of that junk. Keeping it clean here. And I wonder if the Shock to go for just the early Roadhog out of the gate, just to get a pull on anyone overextended on the bridge, and then maybe he just switches back to Diva, which we see in many cases. Okay, yeah. Does switch back, so does Architect. He just wanted to give his team that little speed boost early. So, we're on the road with the Shock.
Sinatra will play Tracer here. You don't see a Brigitte on the other side. So, we have seen teams play like a Widow Genji on defense. Philadelphia will opt for Widow Junkrat. EQO down there being able to spam the chokes. Also, protect the supports a little bit better in the back.
Unaware that Architect has swindled his way towards this area of the map. Now, the Poison Mine lets him know that Carpe's looking for him here, so he gives him a big advantage. Super trapped. What would Admiral Akbar say, my friend? The trade out there, Carpe's down. Architect picks him off early, which is pretty big, but it seems as he died in a fairly safe position to get a resurrect there as that Tune just dropped in and brought him back.
They do get Boombox, though, so that's going to be no Zenyatta here for the Philadelphia Fusion. Sato low as well. It's going to be 2 kills here for the Shock. Carpe does take out Moth, though, so you don't have your own Mercy. Don't have a res.
I mean...
But still, the advantage is huge here for San Francisco.
I love this. I love the Widow Tracer comp from San Francisco. I mean, crazy now to consider it vintage, but you can just see that Sinatra looks so comfortable playing the Tracer around here. Very good at identifying openings in the lattice or the net that he can sneak through. And now he's a Pulse Bomb. He can get some high ground with this one, get a bit of information. Super and Shokobin also up here, just paving the way. Carpe would like to do something about that, but defense matrices don't care about your bullets.
It's EQO to try and combat the Tracer a little bit more. We'll play Brigitte here. Shock getting some good payload progress here, Mitch. You see the payload almost making it around the shuttle. Nice pulse bomb there from Sinatra. Gets rid of Sato early yet again.
The timing was so good. Super was very low, and he had to back away. There was a window there where the Fusion could have actually taken the high ground and controlled it until Sinatra delivered the pulse bomb to win the Winston battle. Now the San Francisco Shock can continue to just increase their lead somewhat. They brought back Carpe. Of course, they couldn't bring Sato back. He's returned to the point organically. And you see Carpe being harassed there. He just gets back in. Super was trying to prevent Carpe from getting the Transcendence healing. We'll call that shock blocking normally. Doesn't quite work out, though. as he's able to jump over the Winston and get that healing, and they'll win the fight. Not even getting surprised about it anymore, Carpe. If you do it all the time, it's not special.
It's a lot like what stage 2 playoff Carpe. It was crazy to watch him then, but then it's also like teams kind of figured it out. Like, if he doesn't hit shots, right, where is their damage coming from? And especially with how they used to play, where you had Fraggy, who's very aggressive. You see Sato play very aggressive as well, give up his life a lot at times. You're able to get a advantage in a lot of these fights.
Well, again, in this composition, he needs to be the damage dealer naturally. Both teams with Brigitte in tow, which is reasonable. I assume EQO switched first to stop Sinatra being such a nuisance, and now they're both on the Shield Maidens. But EQO gets bulldozed there by Sleepy. You can see that Carpe having to play the low ground here. Probably not really where he wants to be, but he's saving his grappling hook in case he needs to get out of jail free or out of danger. Sato, Primal Rage in. Moth, can he get out? Oh no, not quite. He wanted to get away from Sato, but this man wanted it. Now it is just Sato on the payload at this time. Now it's going to EQO to move up. He did give a quick repair pack over towards the Winston. But Sinatra and Co are looking pretty healthy here. Having the Brigitte is so important for the Shock in this kind of fight. Win out those trades, get the stuns in.
Philly's investing into this. They've used Rally, now they're going to use a self-destruct.
They've got to vacate here. Hotbar hangs around. He does a good job of breaking a line of sight from that self-destruct. And now you can see Sato going up on that high ground, trying to push away. Super comes in there with a Primal Rage to try and deal with Carpe. Doesn't really get it done.
Yeah, the Philadelphia Fusion use their Transcendence and Rally. The self-destruct comes in from Choyobin, just try and push them away. They do get it over the line. The Shock able to take point B. As we go into the final portion of this match, EQO will switch off and go over to Hanzo here. So you want to run double sniper.
Yeah, I think you want to try and punish the Brigitte instead of trying to mirror it. I don't know what Sinatra's Hanzo is like. I wonder.
Yeah, I think if the Shock were to kind of get stopped with this comp, they would probably switch Sinatra back to Tracer here. You could play Sinatra on Genji. We haven't seen that much Sinatra on Genji, but he can play the hero.
Well, yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, back at the start of the season, I think. No, it wasn't playing back then. It was even before that. Crazy. Yeah, decent Genji on him. I don't know if he's really had to practice it now with Baby Bay being the off Genji and now Architect being a monster. A lot of ults now being used by the San Francisco Shock. They're trying to finish the job, and this might be the way to do it. Sato goes down to Sinatra, and Architect has so much room to breathe Sinatra. Oh, he's going ham. Brigitte's showing off her power, flexing her muscles as it were, and he just kills everybody. Sinatra putting the point on the end of that sentence, delivering it with the rocket mace. Oh, you got me, damn it! I looked at the hand.
Sinatra can play very aggressive on Brigitte. They just get right up with his tanks, use the shield hash, keep that Inspire up time up. We can take a look at a replay here from Sinatra.
Watch him whip.
You can see he just gets real aggressive, so.
But you can, look at his health. See how his health changes.
So they actually, what they did there is they used Choyobin's self-destruct. They threw it over the top and it forced Sato to obviously break line of sight.
Yeah.
They see him go to the right. They notice both supports actually make it back into the spawn, so they know they have no chance of
completely
support.
Separated.
They jump right onto the main tank. They bash him up against the wall, make sure he can't move out of the way. Everybody starts piling on the damage.
Yeah, and he ends up getting a swirly for his troubles, I'm sure. So we do have the... Yeah, okay, so we saw at the end of that fight as well, we saw Infrasight, Rally, Valkyrie all pop this. A lot of those utility ults just being used by the Shock just to try and get the job done, just to give them a bit more of a margin of error, because they would have hated to have to reset against the double sniper comp so far away from the payload. There would have been so much poke damage.
I mean, Philly switches off the Brigitte, but they end up using Rally, Transcendence. I believe they may have even used another ult during that fight to try and hold on to point B when they just had Choyobin there. So you invested heavy into that fight, didn't work out there.
So who do you like, double sniper or Widowmaker Brigitte?
On defense, well, with these two comps, I actually probably would say the double sniper for offense. I think you can put down enough damage with the Hanzo to kind of force the Brigitte back.
So you still have scatter shot?
I mean, yeah, the only thing is like if you just avoid playing near the snipers, right, and just kind of play down by the tunnel, there's not a lot that the snipers can get done there, then maybe with the tanks and the Brigitte, you can do a lot on the point.
I love that early Roadhog adaptation we've seen now as well. Just like
try and get the hook,
jump out into the abyss, try and get a like a cheeky little hook. Oh dear, EQO took a lot of damage just for showing his face there. Perhaps there's a bounty on his head. See if his hands up. I'm not that surprised. Sade pushed forward. You'll see that EQO is quite close. Now, Carpe's actually on the low ground, if I'm not mistaken. He's trying to sneak and just sort of maybe even rappel across the gap onto the high ground and challenge Architect on the left. It's hard to say. And you can see that EQO send that Sonic Arrow to the left so that Carpe always has eyes on Architect, or at least as long as Architect stands there. That's teamwork.
So Carpe now trying to move into the server room. He takes some orbs from Sleepy there, and then Sinatra.
Hey, he's punished for that play, though.
Hey, but you know, some kills come down, right? EQO already with a Dragon Strike. That is a quick Dragon Strike there.
I think I asked in a previous round what EQO's Hanzo is like. Well, it passes the eye test. And I'm wearing contacts, so like that 20/20 vision fab. Get at me.
A lot of the time we see Carpe play the Hanzo for this team.
Yes.
When it's like
King's
a
Row,
primarily.
right? But I mean, have we really seen much double sniper from Philly? I mean, it's been a while since we've cast their games. I sort of watched them, obviously, but I don't know if we've seen a ton of it.
It's
well, EQO hasn't been playing, right? So we have.
Shadowburn has been in the lineup for the last two games.
We'll get Cam Planet on that one. We obviously see more Shadowburn and EQO definitely making his mark, return to the squad. This is a very good time for Philadelphia.
I mean, they're fortunate for their season that EQ only misses a week. Super's actually contesting the cart there.
Do you like this?
So I do kind of like that. I mean, potentially you could have scared Boombox into using the Transcendence there. If you got a pick over on your side of the map, maybe you even invest your Primal Rage to stay alive there. You could have jumped up on top of the shuttle, but... So it'll be a few ult here used by the Shock. Sinatra uses Rally. Moth will use Valkyrie.
And Carpe just had the Sonic Arrow to work with, then he gets an Infrasight straight away. Constantly able to see where Architect is. All right, well, Shenron not really wanting to take the Dragon Balls, apparently. No kills from the Dragon Strike.
I think it actually gets knocked off course because Super is actually knocking around EQO when he's using the Dragon Strike.
So Widow Hanzo is the fourth most common DPS comp for Philly this stage. So that's not very common, considering we often see Carpe on the Widow in general. So there are 3 other secondary DPS heroes, I'd say, that would actually take preference there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Which I would probably say with Shadowburn in the lineup, you're looking at potentially some kind of Farrakhan.
See you guys.
Some Genji play as both supports go off the side. Brigitte as well. So Carpe.
Oh dear.
Trying to get into a position here. He's actually trying to get up on the high ground. This will put him in a really good spot as they start to come out of the spawn. You have EQO also with the Dragon Strike to use. As the defense has been non-existent here from the San Francisco Shock.
The Philadelphia Fusion crowd has spent all season being in the minority quite often. But their voices are still being heard. Well, the Shock are quite loud themselves. Definitely with the help of a couple of individuals. So here's that Dragon Strike coming through now. They all avoid that one, and the entire Shock comes forward here with this Transcendence, but they don't really get any kills off the back of it. They don't get any Transcendence kills. Aggressive play from San Francisco doesn't really pay off. And now they're going to get completely crunched by the Philadelphia Fusion. Momentum now on the side of these guys, and they're going to make it all the way through. That's a pretty convincing wipe.
And where on their offense they were playing so good with Sinatra and Super playing together as they Brigitte to Winston comp. Here on D, they've been really separated a lot of the times. Neptuno will use Valkyrie, same with Moth. Well, there goes Moth. That's taken out right out of the spawn as Philly looks primed to complete the map in a very...
Oh, it's so nasty. Carpe once again. He's out there getting that DM, you feel?
Double the limbs of Architect. 9 final blows of Carpe to 2. Then 1 death extra for Architect, 6 to 5. But still, just crazy play from Carpe yet again.
So let's see what happened to Moth at the start of that fight, because I feel like that was really where it all went wrong. The shot. Here's Moth, chilling.
Using in the spawn doors, though.
What's up? What's up? I'm using Valkyrie now, and okay, so, it was a brief window where Troyhoban actually moved forward, so was no longer using the defense mages to protect Moth.
And EQO is probably just spamming that doorway. Whether it's, or he may, just spamming it constantly. You know, you could have had like a Sonic Arrow.
So there's only a minute separating these two teams though, Matt.
Yeah.
On time bank.
It just seemed like it was really fast there for Philadelphia Fusion.
This may go down as one of my personal favorite matches of the entire Overwatch League season, if I'm honest.
It's a really
all the good stuff.
back and forth match. So EQO potentially staying here near the spawn. He wants to. We see the teams do this quite a lot, or they send like they have a player play like a fast hero, like a Genji or a Tracer here at the beginning, see what they have, and then run back. But
is it what does he want to play Hanzo? Let's say is he on Junkrat in case there's an Orisa? What's the thinking here? Like, what's he looking for?
So he actually comes all the way out of the spawn. A lot of teams actually will have somebody sit back there, and they'll decide depending on what they see, whether it's like a Tracer, or Brigitte, or a
no,
you can't get caught out there.
He fell into a Junkrat trap. EQO just arrived, puts it down. It's not quite the doormat, the welcome that Super was hoping for.
I mean, it doesn't do much in terms of like payload progress because Philadelphia will give up a lot of this up until the choke. But it does give EQO a nice boost of charge here.
We like 36%. Yeah. All right. Sinatra now knows that getting through his doorway becomes demonstrably more difficult now with the Junkrat at large. And Sato can actually just peek over the top and get sort of damage here with his tester gun. While redecorating, of course. Trying to spruce Gibraltar up a little bit more. There's Moth going down. Remember I said, with that Junkrat, that server room becomes a lot more dangerous, a lot harder to play in, but Moth died in the underpass choke. There's a lot of those in this part of the map. San Francisco had to like sort of squeeze themselves through. So the Junkrat is good value here for Philly.
Yeah, and they leave Sato just kind of up on the bridge, right above the payload, and he jumps down, finds Sleepy alone. Is able to take him out, so you get a kill onto that Zen towards the end of the fight. Is the hold good from Philadelphia thus far? You're going to get a Rip Tire here as well for Philadelphia. You can combo that with the Inversight, make sure you get a good use of it.
All right, now it's Sinatra and the Tracer. He runs into Hotbar, and they think they've got Hotbar caught out, but it's unlikely that's actually going to be the case. Carpe in a great spot there to punish anyone away from shielding. Remember, the Shock don't have static shielding. There's no Orisa, there's no Reinhardt, so a lot of opportunities for Carpe just to interject and find kills very briefly.
This may be the fight that kind of decides this map here, Mitch. We're going to get to about a minute to go here. It's going to be both support ultimates here. Oh, and the Rip Tire invested, so it's going to be Sleepy who used the Transcendence as well. Now it'll be Boombox's Transcendence, but his teammates are already dead by the time he pops it. I actually thought that was going to go well for Philadelphia when they get the Transcendence use a little bit early, and EQO has the Rip Tire. If he is able to connect with, just anybody, really, they would have been good.
That's such an interesting fight to go back over and look at, but the bottom line is that a Transcendence from Philly, yes, they'd saved it, but they don't get much value out of it. Boombox taken down. Okay, EQO gets in there, finds Sleepy. But Architect's in a pretty safe spot. Getting Carpe would be the first step to winning this fight, but they've had to pull out, man. Somehow the Fusion managed to win the fight with a Zenyatta, a Mini Diva, and a Tracer.
And Carpe with a big pickup on the high ground as well as
what on earth?
Like that. You know, they had all the win conditions there, Philadelphia. They didn't end up winning it with a Rip Tire, right? Which you think is going to go well for them.
Win with none of their win
conditions. They come back with nothing, and they're able to take that fight.
Just raw grit and determination, man. That's the stuff of champions. On the low ground, Sato's waiting for a Hell Pack respawn, I think, but Sinatra's already been taken down. And you see the jump in from Super, making sure Carpe can't pick off the Mercies. They're trying to go for a res, but Moth doesn't feel like he can do that. Now with the Valkyrie, it might be an option, but there's no way they're bringing back Sinatra. They have to wait for him to return on foot. Carpe shuts out Choice over before he can get the resuit. There's the stick from EQO. Sleepy's been taken down. Sato removes Super now as he was trying to get aggressive. And it's up to Moth to try and stall the payload himself. You can see that Architect's just going to be pressured down. Carpe more than happy just to try and run rings around him. Discord or briefly applied to that enemy Widowmaker. And here's the Transcendence for the Shock. They need to buy Tire Mat, and they get the Pulse Bomb on Boombox, who was close to his own Transcendence too.
So Neptuno's going to use the Valkyrie, just trying to keep Hotba and Sato topped up on the point. Sato with 2 during Primal Rage, the self-destructor to force players off the point anyway from Hotba.
This is real. This is sick. So sick.
Well, it's so interesting. Like, you got what you wanted from Philadelphia. Both support ultimates for the Shock out. You use the tire, it gets nothing. Players are dying, and then somehow they're able to flip it.
Remember who we said had to step up this week?
Yeah.
Let's have a look at Boombox here, and this is such a huge turning point. They're forced away from that outside area. You can see that was after Super used that Primal Rage. Sinatra goes down to his hand. And you see how close the payload is, right? He pops out, deals with Super. Sinatra and Super both down to him. That's what we asked for. That's what I asked for when I was raging about Philly earlier this week. And now, Matt, they're set up with 3 minutes and 50 seconds to get the first checkpoint. It looks like the Fusion are on track to win this game.
It's basically an eternity of time to get just point A.
Now, we've seen crazier things, Matt. We've seen full holds here. The most bizarre kinds of full holds as well. But the Fusion, I mean, the Junkrat inclusion there, I felt, came off really well. Then EQO actually got a lot done on Tracer. I mean, him switching to Tracer, along with Boombox's heroics, helped save the fight.
Well, that's what the beauty is of this EQO Carpe DPS duo. They can both kind of interchange and really play just about everything. It's like, it's where you see like, when it was really like Tracer Widow is like the meta, right? You saw a lot of Snillo play and Carpe can play Widow.
That was it anyway.
Right, no, I mean in the previous stage we saw that. Now we haven't seen Snillo, I believe, at all, really, this stage.
I like that. They took that to the next level. They actually switched Zato as well to the Orisa to get trying to get the pull pork combo, right? The hold into hook. That could have been like game over right there.
I mean, they got super with a trap in the last half, right? You figure maybe you're able to kind of catch them off guard yet again.
But again, getting a first pick on attack, way more impactful, of course.
Oh, yes.
All right, Payload's chugging along here in the Philadelphia Fusion to close the Shock, had to dig their heels, and I know there's a lot of very stressed out fans of the audience right now. They're split in two. Sinatra's playing on that right side with Super and the two supports, and Shoykobin's just floating in between Architect and his own backline. It needs to keep that Widowmaker alive, Shoykobin.
If you're Philadelphia, you can just kind of pressure this backside. You don't have to mess with the server room as Carpe just wants to go in there anyway. All right.
Assault and battery happening in the server room.
I mean, they can just jump on Architect on the side. All three supports are actually over in the server room. So Architect has no support if you were to jump on high ground here. It would actually force whether it's the Mercy or maybe even, I guess he can connect with an Orb of Harmony, but maybe you force them out of line of sight from a distance. But I think they're gonna push on the Architect here. Could get dangerous for the shot.
EQO wanting that Dragon Strike so badly. Now that shield is out, Architect's down, Sade pushed in, just like you said, Matt. And now a scatter shot inside that small server room. Well, EQI had to expend it on the Winston getting in his face. He finds the headshot, he found Moth! There it is! Eureka, he says he struck gold! And the Shock now running out of players. They do have the Transcendence at least here for Sleepy to keep things going, but that's it. He can't even get to the payload. And now it'll be the step up for Super. He has to do something here. No kills to be found. The Transcendence is too much to cut through. There's not enough damage there for the Shock. Dragon Strike through to force him off the payload here. Self-destruct now. Sinatra can only just shield himself, but he's so low. Shoykobin desuited. That's all she wrote. The Philly Fusion rise up. A slow start to the series. But the brilliance of Carpe is not something to be denied. EQO was there too. Boombox with a huge individual moment. And the Philly Fusion, it's been a rough couple of weeks, but boy, are they happy to have EQO back on their roster.
It's a huge win here for Philadelphia, but I think the Shock will end up looking at that tape, and they have Architect set up on the high ground. When they dive up on top of them, it's a free kill. They have no supports on that side of the map. Then what has to happen? The supports have to run out of the server room. That's a great spot for the Hanzo and the Widow to just pick players off. They're not able to really make a great fight on the payload in the end. The Widow battle in this one, dominated by Carpe. 17 final blows to Architect's 4.
The Fusion are still in a position to get into the playoffs, Matt. Now they go to 4 wins and 3 losses. The next 3 games are Seoul, Houston, and London. A chance for the Fusion, but it's going to be tight. Let's head over to a break into the desk and have the one break this down. One of my favorite matches from this season. Incredible stuff. Is this happening? You better believe it! Here is the Deadeye! It's so filthy!
Heck, and it's
What did we do to deserve such incredible Overwatch?
What's up, you beautiful people? Welcome back to MLG's Watchpoint. We know you missed us.
I love watching this team
They just don't want to challenge him. There are some real issues going on behind the scenes.
Not everybody can improve,
Need
guys.
him to be on fire, and he won't.
You want him on Widow as much as possible.
Yeah, this is a disaster of a play.
You don't have the resources, you can't put together a winning strategy anyway.
Can you imagine what's going to be going through your head?
It'll be a little bit nerve-wracking. It's a family here, and we treat each other like brothers and sisters.
I mean, in a game that moves as fast as Overwatch, it's actually huge.
This team could avoid the semifinal match if they just stuck with this lineup.
You might be right.
Is that all you're going to say?
What's up, Overwatch fans?
Do what we're told.
You need sweet names like Rocky.
Idiots.
This is Watchpoint.
That's Emmy material.
It was okay, I guess.
welcome back one last time with a clutch match to finish off this day. So congratulations to you, Boombox, and your team for edging it out against the San Francisco Shock. And we're gonna be honest here, that was a very, very close one. Did you expect that?
I mean, San Francisco's got a lot better recently, so we expected a close match, but not that close. It's kind of unfortunate.
Kind of unfortunate, but you know what? It's fortunate you did win in the end. Now, when I talked to your coach during halftime, Kirby told me that he really wants to install this mentality at the moment that every match has huge playoff implications. Everything is do or die. Does that help you as a player when you're going on stage, knowing that there is so much pressure and so much on the line?
I mean, we all realize we're in a bad state. We're pretty even with 7th and 8th place and so on, so we need to win every match, and it's important to take each match one by one.
Okay, talking about your upcoming matches then, you have London, Seoul, as well as Houston coming up. Do you feel like all of them are winnable?
They're all winnable, but they're all hard opponents. We've lost to them in the past and beat some of them, so it should be fun.
Should be fun. All right, I take your promise for that. Thank you so much for joining me. Now get some well-deserved rest. Congratulations once again to the Philadelphia Fusion. We're now heading over to the desk one more time.
It's okay to smile, Boombox. You guys just pulled off a ridiculous comeback in this one. Philadelphia steals the second half and takes the series 2-1. First of all, Crumbs, congratulations.
Thank
Josh, you look like Brent today with your predictions. But let's start things off here with the big question.
You saw that coming.
After watching Carpe in the second half, is he the best player in the Overwatch League?
I'd say as a standalone DPS, yes. I don't think there's anybody else that's delivered such an overwhelming performance every single time.
He's eating that hype up. Just eating that hype
Oh,
up.
yeah.
Josh? No, I don't think so. I think
you gotta be the salty guy for getting the wrong prediction.
No, I think he's great, right? But we basically just saw him go wild on Widowmaker today. And he has other heroes that he's great at. He's a pretty versatile guy, plays a lot of different stuff. But when you think about other players like Sabiobi, who's been so utterly consistent and plays such a great formula within his team, Carpe's off kind of doing his own thing and benefits from the messy style of Philly. I think if you plugged him into a team that was actually like at the top of the league, he'd be a bit of a liability, a bit like Pine as well.
He can make some art out of that mess. Let's take a look back at Carpe here in this series as we go back to Lijiang Tower. Carpe wasn't the only one on the map, but my favorite to watch. But, of course, we see a lot of Zarya coming into the control center before the Widows come out a little bit later in the garden. What were the big changes in this game, or the key moments when we go back to the first control?
I think looking at this control, the key moment was yelling, winnable, winnable, winnable the entire time, because this is the exact same scenario that happened to Philly last time, where Carpe is just hanging on the offside. Hang on, this is a 6 swap, by the way. I totally approve of this. So these were great swaps by the supports out of Philadelphia Fusion. These guys do this very well. They recognize, okay, it's time to bring out the soldier to make sure we can rush back to the point, provide some cover fire from the farthest distance with the Neptuno on the Lucio as well.
What do you want, Josh? What do you want more from Carpe?
Yeah, he said he's a liability.
Listen, no, he's a fantastic player, right? But I just don't think that he's the best player in the entirety of the Overwatch League. You know, we look at guys like Jonak as well, the main tanks that are so fantastic.
Boo, I agree, crowd. Keep the boos coming.
Fusion?
Let's talk about Gibraltar. We got Sinatra, of course, going back to the hero that he made his name on. The Tracer, dominant performance early on from the young ones, but then Philly starts to rally back.
They did, and when this team is playing aggressive, when they're all moving forwards together, that's when they're at their best, because that kind of shores up the maybe lack of understanding of exactly how to position yourself when the game slows down, making sure you minimize all your mistakes. Philly make mistakes, it's just that they are absolutely clutch as hell as well. They are all over the place, getting picks left, right, and center, and when they play aggressive, that's when they play their best. And so the Gibraltar attack in particular was great stuff from them. They finished with tons of time in the bank.
You guys mentioned they're messy, right? And these games had so many moments where you just had to rely on that individual skill or a major play from an individual player. But what do we expect from the Fusion moving forward? Can they keep up at this level of intensity with the remaining matches ahead, especially against the big ones that matter, Houston and Seoul Dynasty?
So I think there's a couple of things you can expect. You can definitely count on Carpe showing up big. You know the supports are going to make their clutch plays, but everything else is still just we don't know what to expect out of Philadelphia Fusion. That's why we find them at 7, 6, and 8th place just for most of the stage. These guys need to find consistency that is more than one member.
Josh, what's your take on this?
I do think that they are a team that thrives under pressure, though. I think sometimes they tilt themselves and they end up getting downhill, but they're a team that is very much about their mental attitude. If they come into a game and they're determined to win it, I think you get big performances like that coming out from them individually. And as we said, they can clutch any game they go up against. They're going to outpace almost every team in the league. They're better man for man. It's just they play such a sloppy style.
The Fusion have been so clutch. If you go back to stage 2, remember how they made their run all the way to the grand finals. Once again, they're back in a pretty secure position, but they still have to defend themselves moving forward if they want to be playing in the $1 million playoffs. For now, though, guys, we have to close out tonight's series by crowning our Philadelphia Player of the Match, sponsored by Omen by HP.
Who could it be?
Josh, who is it? It's the best player in the game. Hashtag OWL MVP.
Of course it's Carpe. The guy has absolutely torn it up today. And I think it's partly because EQO is back there with the rest of his team. They kind of operate in a weird way where Carpe is left on his own. As long as the rest of the team's distracting enough, Carpe can make these weird flanks, make these weird plays, and get a huge amount of work done. So I think he benefited from EQO.
Well, you know that when teams are playing against Carpe, you can tell that they're playing a little bit more cautious. It's all about where the hell is Carpe first before we realize that we can move in. And when teams don't do that, he pops off and gives us these performances that have him as a MVP in the Overwatch.
He's 33 headshots, 57 final blows. Carpe was absolutely on fire in the second half, and let's keep the numbers coming. Oh, there's a terrible tweet. Our buddy Bren asking to be put in the show at the end. Well, our producers got you. Carpe on form tonight, and of course, please guys, use this tweet. Brent's not above begging after his 0-3 day yesterday.
He's so desperate, Brendan Huck.
You do love when desperate means or meets self-awareness. So
Sure,
combination.
He's self-aware of how desperate he is. That's what makes him slightly lovable rather than obnoxious.
He knows what's going on. Bren, we love you. Bren and Reinforce will be back tomorrow, of course, and we have a lot more matches coming up for you then. For now, though, let's take a look at our stage standings because we have 2 more days of matches here in Week 4, and then 4 more days next week in the final week of the regular season. Walk us through these standings, guys, because in Stage 4, only 4 teams move on to the playoffs.
Well, this stage is all about Los Angeles. You didn't expect to find both your city's teams in number 1 and number 2 spot, respectively, in such a commanding lead too with that map differential.
Yes, and with San Francisco Shock losing this game, it's really blown that 4th place spot wide open. You know, Dallas previously, I thought they might be up there. They're not really. So maybe the Houston Outlaws can sneak back in, or the Philadelphia Fusion. Whichever team makes a big run for the overall playoffs is likely to get into Stage 4.
And speaking of the overall standings, New York is in. We know Los Angeles, after their victory today, is officially going to the playoffs. But still, we got 5 teams fighting for the remaining 4 spots here. 6 teams, arguably. Guys, how does this shape out, Josh? After watching our first 2 days of action, who are the favorites?
Whoa, well, I think that the Seoul Dynasty are going to end up out of this, and I think the table will settle roughly as it is right now. Philadelphia Fusion, I've still got faith in them to be able to clutch a couple of games left. I think Gladiators might slip down into 6th, but the Outlaws, I'm still not 100% sold.
Both teams at 22 and 15, walking away with major victories on Thursday. But your Friday matches, we kick things off with the Shanghai Dragons as they go up against the Boston Uprising. But really, it's that 8 p.m. match. All eyes need to be on the Fusion versus the Dynasty. Can the Fusion fend off Houston and Seoul to lock up their spot in the playoffs?
Seoul's got to be sweating after seeing what Carpe just did. So they have their game plan set. It's just a matter of can they execute, which we've asked already 37 times, and the answer has been kind of.
Josh, for anyone who missed the games today, which game do they need to go back and watch on OverwatchLeague.com?
I think it was this one. If you didn't catch this game, you absolutely should. As Mitch said while he was casting it, potentially the best game that we've seen in recent history. He was saying all season long. I don't know.
LA Gladiators and Valiant.
There were some other good games, yeah, but I think it's the way that Carpe moves and hits the heads that tickles his pickle, you know?
All right, that's how we're going to end the show, Josh. Thank you very much, guys. For everyone that came out to the Blizzard Arena, we got a special treat for you. We got a signing with the league's best squad, the NYXL. But if you're watching online, if you got the Twitch All Access Pass, make sure you switch over to the Command Center for a Q&A session with Architect from the San Francisco Shock. And please remember, if you're in the venue, grab your Sour Patch kids, thunder sticks on your way out of the venue. We had an awesome time on the desk, and we hope you join us again tomorrow. Have a good night.